All right, guys, welcome to another Tank Talk. This time we're talking about Mogu'shan Vault. We are going to be going over the race, and then we're going to go over some tips and tricks for all of the bosses and some of the trash too. There could be some interesting things there as well. First off, we'll just kind of go over each of our experiences with the races, the race, and we'll start with Riyani. How was your race experience? Anything that went wrong? Any bugs you encountered? I heard there might have been something. What went right for you? Just overall, how'd it go for you?
Well, starting off with what went right, I think what went right was just like a good all around like execution of what we had practiced. Like we had not practiced incredibly much for Mogu'shan Vault. The During the beta weekends, we had one weekend where we just had like one evening raid of like 4 hours, and then the next weekend we had our normal two evenings, but we had not gone as much time as we wanted to. So a lot of the strats that we wanted to implement, we'd never done. Right, we had never done them in the setting where we were gonna do them now on live. So with all of that in mind, I think we did fairly well. And uh, the way we executed our strat was good as well, even if it wasn't the most time optimal thing. We were still on pace to being world third, the rank that we were kind of shooting for originally, since everything that happened with progress happened. We were shooting for world third. And we did kill Spirit Kings world fourth, and then the bugs started one guying us. And yeah, so we had some issues with Elegon. We had our rogue just fall through the floor. Our rogue with two 502 daggers.
Wait, it
On the
just
only
fell.
fight where single target matters. Yeah, he
Yeah,
just fell through the floor.
like not during the part where the floor disappears, just randomly.
No, just at the start of the
Okay.
pull. Like the
Oh,
entire rate, our entire boss encounter, we did it
yeah,
with 24 players, and arguably our strongest, single target
yeah.
player as well, which is not able to participate.
What was it? A bug with like shadow step? Did you shadow step in and just like fell through, or
Just
just
hopped in,
just
hopped right in,
too
and then
light
fell down.
footed? Yeah, just fell through. Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
Haven't heard of that one yet. That's interesting.
yeah. And so that made it, that kind of had a little bit of a ripple effect, because it also led us then to the way that we pushed it at the end was not with killing the last wave before they reached the conduits. And since we didn't kill the boss before they reached the conduits, that meant that the lines went up and everything. And we never practiced this on live either. We didn't know that they would stay up. um, so as such, we lost a ton of time after that. And then we got to Will of the Emperor. We were on pace to get world fifth, and then we ran into the bug again where it was impossible to dodge the dance section. They would just hit you regardless of where you were. I got some good experience with tanking with zero armor because of the Clothiani stuff. So ironically enough, even though I went up to 9 stacks on our first pull, I didn't die, but we didn't have enough combat reses. After all of our melees had just died to the dance, and yeah, we had to wipe and then kill it on next go, but that was not good enough to get the type of ranking that we wanted. But I will say, still finishing in the top 10 is not terrible. Like, it's kind of what we've been doing in the previous expansion prior to Dragon Soul. So all things considered, I'm happy with how we performed. I'm just not happy with the way that um, Blizzard handled the bugs that were clearly already there on the beta before, that were bug reported, and that were allegedly fixed. And yeah.
Yeah. Just curious on Will of the Emperor, which boss did you have the issue on? Was it, I forget the names, Jang, whatever, and The other one?
Let's say right and left.
Okay. If you're coming down the stairs, right and left?
Yeah, so if you're coming
Okay.
down the stairs, we've always just had the melees on the right side.
Okay.
And I think that's where we had the issues, because I think the
Okay.
issue is where you have the other players. Because we went back and jigsawed the footage of the different POVs, and every single player has a different POV of where the slash is. So
Oh.
it's so it's basically just doing the slashes for everyone's POV. And so I guess like if you have more than one person in at when it bugs out, it's just gonna cover the entire map basically.
So you're saying every individual player in the raid is seeing a different slash
Yeah,
animation?
exactly. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Okay.
if I go back and look at
Crazy.
my footage, I'm alone. I'm alone dodging this my side. Every other melee is just running into the blade. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? And then you see their POV and they're dodging it, but I'm running into the slash.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god. Okay.
so yeah, life is not great, but I think all things considered, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Wow.
I have to say that it's absolutely crazy because that thing existed since PTR weekend 1.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
after our race, I was watching streams and I opened Riyani your stream and I was watching you reviewing your board about it, and I saw that happening. I was like, this cannot be real. Like, it was reported by so many guilds, so many people had it happen, and you're doing it in the race. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel sorry for this guy. Like, it's insanely unlucky. Like, it's so shit.
Yeah, on PTR 1 it was just completely bugged. On PTR 2 it seemed like it was fixed. I don't recall ever running into that bug on PTR 2, and then yeah, it seems to sporadically be back now. I don't know. Cuz
Maybe they just pushed the version of PTR 1, because I think that there were a lot of other bugs as well that were not necessarily the way that
yeah.
it should have been.
Yeah, there's still more bugs in there. Don't worry, we'll cover them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
you'll get to
Yeah,
that
I heard
part, Cal,
I
I'm
heard
sure.
Cow might have encountered some too.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, I mean, mainly bug disappointments. Feel like raid performed pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I'm proud of the performance that people put in, and we didn't have any like blunders really. Most of our issues purely came down to what happened on the with Blizzard servers, and with we had small missteps, but ultimately that was not enough to cost us like even more than 1 or 2 ranks possibly. So yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Cow, you want to go over your experience now? Cow raids with who? Riyani with stepbrothers. I guess we should mention the guilds as we go.
Right.
So yeah, how'd it go for you, Cow?
The day itself was set to be a bad one for me because I woke up, I did my real life things, come to the computer, and then suddenly all of you has world bosses. World boss
Yeah,
of the year. They're in MSV having fun, and I'm out here just saying, what? Like what's happening?
that's what I woke
So
up to as well. Just
kinda
screenshots of world bosses and people in MSV, and I was like, what the hell is happening?
it set some bad vibes throughout the day. I don't think we had a terrible raid. The biggest blunder, most people know this, we had a Spirit Kings, 2 people hit into the shield, and we wiped, and that's where the biggest bug happened. So we tried to salvage it, and we saw it's not gonna go anywhere. So we came back in again for attempt number 2, and the 3rd boss just never spawned. So, second boss, a bit high, the archer. Everything is fine, we're killing him, and then we're looking to the back, like, where's the 3rd boss? It's not coming out." And, we fully killed boss 2, and it just never spawned. So we,
What? Yeah,
fumbled
that's crazy.
another 10 minutes just on that, and then had to go back and hope that attempt number 3 is okay, and it was.
I've never even heard of that bug happening. Do you have
Yeah, you should
like
pull up the
any?
VOD.
Yeah, do you have any like thoughts of like maybe anything that could have caused
Nah.
it, or
Just
completely
not,
random?
no idea. Yeah, we always
Yeah.
do the same thing, and this time it just never spawned, so it's the first time it happened to us, but that's a pretty
Yeah.
big one.
That's a huge one. Yeah.
Yeah, there are other bugs as well, like Gara'jal fixate on tank will drop the debuff on the tank. I don't know if you guys encountered that one. So you're actually the second tank is able to go main tank mode without the debuff for fixate because it gets dropped by the boss a couple of times. Well, boss drops it on the main tank.
I did on my pally, I think it was get ported, or I got like banished when I shouldn't have, so that might have been it. When the other
Yeah.
tanks should have been banished, so I don't know.
Yeah, so
We
there are
did a lot of
definitely
clears. We did a lot of clears, but I have to say this is completely new for me at least. Like I've never heard this one before, and it's crazy. Like we played 14 hours a day, and Gara'jal was always like no bugs, like
yeah,
nothing
we've never
whatsoever.
had that either
Huh.
until now.
We did
So-
have that
It's-
once
yeah.
happen on the beta. So that you know it is something that did happen. But one thing that I found interesting on Gara'jal was just Brewmaster monks randomly not getting vengeance when they taunt.
I don't know if it's random because I wasn't able to get a single time.
Yeah, that's
Not
what
a
I mean.
single
Like
one.
I think it's random that Brewmaster can't get it.
Yeah, it's some weird thing. I don't know. Overall, I'm happy that we're clear. You know, we cleared it. I'm happy we were through with it. But the vibes, the feel is not good on that one on MSV for me. From a game perspective, more than team perspective, fuck ups will always happen. But so many bugs, so many new things too that completely destroy your spirit. Ironically, Spirit Kings, right? But we're through with it. All good.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Can you think of a race like recently that had this many bugs? And I mean, I can't recall other than like Anniversary AQ. I can't recall like another raid releasing 7 hours
In
early or
Firelands,
whatever.
Sorry, not in Firelands, but in tier 11, we went to the Blackwing Descent. Do you remember Fire?
Oh yes,
I forget it.
magma,
The
right?
Magma, yeah,
Yeah.
where everybody, the entire raid just gets
Yes.
obliterated.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
That was
any
Credi
team
probably.
that
No, that was
chose,
pre-Credi maybe.
Yeah, I
you know,
was not I was not a part of Numen back
That
then,
was
but even to this day, the guildies do talk about that, and they're like,
yeah.
borderline salty about it.
what can
Like,
you do, right?
I mean,
yeah, like it affects them
You just chose
deeply.
the wrong dungeon, just the wrong one.
Yeah,
What can
like
you
they,
do?
they put in hours and hours into practicing it, and they go into a raid, and the first boss just fucks them up. Like, it's
Yeah.
not fair.
yeah. Yeah, it's devastating when you just lose so much time to bugs after so much preparation.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good spirits. Let's get to the one person here now that actually had a good experience in Mogu'shan Vault. How did you feel about your performance, Subtle?
Yeah, I was really happy with ours. So we got World 10th in Dragon Soul. We ended up with World 7 in MSV. We were just hoping to, do better than we did in Dragon Soul, so moving up 3 places was great. We had a really good run at the beginning. Like first 3 bosses, we were just cruising. We were doing great. Like no, just minor mistakes here and there, but nothing like major. Just going pretty quick. We get to Spirit Kings. We're doing great on Spirit Kings. It's going wonderfully. And then that 3rd boss spawns. This is the scary part of the fight. That Shao boss with that shadow shield. Anybody hits that, blows up the raid. So we thought we had figured out all the ways you can possibly wipe to the shadow shield. We found a new one. So one of our hunters was hitting a ad, the ads that like fixate people. He was hitting one of those ads that fixate people. It was behind the shadow shield guy. He glaive tossed it. The shadow shield was not out yet, but glaive toss does damage like on its way and like on its way back. On the glaive's way back, the shadow shield went up. It hit the shadow shield. Raid blew up. And yeah, pretty unfortunate. We wiped to that. We were having a really good run until that point. So we just wiped really quick, went at it again, killed it next pull. And then Elegon, we had a wipe early. Our ad tank unfortunately had the big ad slightly too far in the middle, and so it blew up the raid, went to total devastation. But we wiped quick on that, went again, killed it, and then Will of the Emperor was a bit of a mess, but we pulled it out. We had a bunch of people die to a spark, like 4 DPS died to a spark on like the first dance, and Discord was going absolutely crazy. And I'm like, doing the dance, everybody is screaming. I'm trying to figure out if we're trying to wipe really quick or what's going on. And then I get hit by like 2 devastating arcs. I got stun locked by this, Discord shit going on. And I was so mad at myself because I was so good at the dance, like all beta and everything. And then it's like I just get stun locked. It was stupid, like mental error. Just stop focusing, get hit by the dance twice, then a melee die is like 1 in a million. Like it's never gonna happen again. That happens on the race, obviously. And but I get battle res, we do the rest of the fight, fine, kill it. Ended up with 7. So yeah, kind of a mixed bag. It was kind of a weird race though, because I mean we haven't done MSV in 2 months. So it was like weird going back in there. Like we put quite a bit of prep time in, like when it was live on beta, like 3 to 4 hours a night, because not everybody was online in time, but 3 to 4 hours a night when it was available on beta. And then yeah, we haven't done it since then though. It's been like 2 months, and so it felt kind of weird. Like you're sort of dusting off the cobwebs. Like as you're doing the race, you're like remembering things you learned on the beta, and you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, I should have been doing that." And yeah, it was kind of an odd race experience because of that. But yeah, a lot of people in our guild don't really like the P servers, so we didn't do like a little refresher run or anything. But definitely would have helped. Would have been nice, but. Overall, really happy with the performance though. We did really great, moved up 3 spots, and super happy about that. But Credi, I've been saving the best for last here. Credi is the Prot for Numen. Some of you guys who have been watching for a while, you might remember him from my ICC interview with him. He was in progress at that point when they got the world first ICC. And he was playing prop value at that point, and they had an amazing run. I think it was like an hour, 30 minutes or something. And I mean, people probably remember how hard like Heroic Lich King was at that point. Like one-shotting Heroic Lich King, definitely a feat in that kind of gear. But Credi is back, raiding with Numen now on the Prot War, which is what I've also been playing. So I'm very excited to hear some of his takes on this stuff. But Credi, how'd the race go for you?
Well, if you ask just for me, I think first half of the race, really bad. Like, I don't know, I was really ashamed of myself. I almost wiped the raid on Feng, stunned the boss too early with the copied Stormfist. Stunned the boss too early, didn't stun the Earthquake. Earthquake happened, almost wiped the raid. 3 people died, rest of the people like 20% HP. Worst mistake I've ever done in my history of racing. I've done a lot of races and it's like not even close. Worst mistake I've ever done. Then I got my shit together. Gara'jal goes by, and then Spirit King's Elegon Will, I crushed it. So it's like half and half. Like first half of the race was really shit for me. I played really bad. Second half played really well. I think it's like a preparation thing. I'd say that 2 years has gone past since I've raced last time. ICC, as you said, was the last time I've raced before this one. I have a lot of racing preparations that I do that are psychological, and it helped me, it really does. And this time I treated it differently. I went out of my routine and it, got back to me. And I think it's a mistake. But I got my shit together at the middle of the race and I really crushed it at the end of it. But yeah, like I'm disappointed. And when we killed Will of the Emperor, like first thing I said, I apologize to everyone of how I played on Feng. Like even if you win or lose, like doesn't matter for me. Like I take responsibility for my own gameplay. I wanted to apologize to everyone. I took it very seriously. Like it's like very personal to me. Like if I fuck up that badly, and as the main tank, you have the most responsibility out of everyone in Mr. Pandaria raids. Like you do the most damage on Feng, as an example. Like you carry responsibility of these raid mechanics when you can stun and avoid these mechanics. For some reason, I was shaking like a puppy at the end of at the start of the raid. And I don't know why this is, because like, for example, if you take ICC, I was calm as a goat. I think I've been obviously reflecting on this. I think it's because I haven't raced for this long, and I think Heart of Fear and Toys will be easier for me. And a lot of my guild is because we had a few first-timers race this time. I was not obviously a first-timer. I won the race 2 times before this, but I think because I didn't race for such long, it impacted me mentally in a way that I was really scared. And I'm obviously hope that we make it past, and glad that we did. So now we're here talking with you. If I fucked up too hard, I probably wouldn't be here. So nice to be here.
Yeah, no, I mean, pulling it together and lock it in, like after making a mistake like that, I think that's super impressive. Like it's so easy to just kind of spiral after a mistake like that, and just the bad play just keeps piling on. But to be able to like turn that around and finish the race strong and come out with the number 1, I think that speaks volumes about you as a player. And like for me personally too, like it was weird for me too, because like I had such a bad performance on Will. Like I was so happy. It was such a bittersweet like moment, because I was so happy about how well our guild did, like overall, like improving our placement. But I was so disappointed in like my performance on Will that it was like, I'm so bummed about what I did, but I'm so happy about what the guild did. And yeah, it's a weird feeling, man. But yeah, you pulled it out though in the end, and that's what matters.
If it does help anything, I will say that our reversal tank did the same thing. We're all kind of using these Foji WeakAuras packs and everything like that. And if you look back at the footage, if you're following the calls that yours truly have developed, then it does say that you should use it then. But obviously a cold hand, a cool as a goat type of player, maybe he does it differently. Maybe.
I think I remember now that I think about it, like in the very moment after I copied the Stormfist, I remember because it happened multiple times on the PTR where I stunned too early. Like, and I'm always the type of player that in PTR, if we have as many mistakes as we can, it's the best thing that can happen. Because if you don't have mistakes on PTR, you don't explore all the avenues that can happen in the race. Like if you go through every mistake on PTR, that's the best thing you can do, because then it won't happen on the race. Or rather, you can react to the mistakes that will happen in the race. So I stunned very many times on PTR too early, like a few times, and in the very moment that when we were on Feng on the race, I thought to myself that okay, I won't stun too early. I was like holding the stun for 10 seconds or something. I won't stun too early because I was scared. Like I had done the psychological preparation wrongly. I hadn't gone through my routine. I was poorly prepared. First cast that happens, it's another Stormfist, and like I stun and I call it immediately. Okay, like I'm a vocal player, so I call it immediately, and then our healers play the situation and we use cooldowns, but like it wasn't enough. It's my mistake, but yeah, like it happens. No matter if you've gotten through that situation, I was like, it will live rent free in my head for probably years, because I've never made never made such mistake in a race before. But yeah.
Yeah. If it's not too personal, do you want to talk about like kind of your psychological preparation that you've done for other races?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this is a very fascinating part because I don't consider myself as a talented player when it comes to the mechanical side. I've always been good in the psychological side, and I think one key thing that I've learned was from my teenage years. I think I was 17 when I competed in the MDI in retail, and it was very first thing I've ever done that was like really competitional. I think the stream had like 250,000 viewers, and it was like extremely adrenaline and everything. Like it was like it's a one time in a life experience. For that race, I tried to make myself as nervous as possible for the weeks before that, so that my body would be used to the nervousness. So I did this for the Wrath of the Lich King races when I raced before my break. Since I didn't race entire Cataclysm, and now I'm racing again in MoP. For every single race that I've done on Wrath of the Lich King, I was watching my old races. I was like trying to get myself as nervous as possible. I'm thinking about like how people are judging me, how people are watching me, what are people commenting about that. I'm trying to do that all before the race itself happens, so that when the race itself happens, I'm already numb to the feeling, and it worked brilliantly. Um, this time I didn't. Like I feel like it's because I'm in a new guild. Um, there's a lot of rookies in the guild that have not raced before. Um, it's a mistake from my side. I felt like I was a veteran of racing. And I felt like it's another Tuesday to me. Like I've done this so many times before. Um, I don't need to do this preparation now, and it really backfired. And now I understand it. I need to do this. It's every preparation you do is for yourself. You do it for yourself. Everyone has their own thing, and this is what works for me. So I need to do it the next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is super important. I mean, I'm still pretty new to racing. I haven't been doing it that long, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out what works. And the race jitters are real, man. Like, I feel like everybody in our raid commented about it. Like, some of them aren't even like streaming or anything, and they still got those jitters, and it affects the way you play. And it's so interesting too, because I'm sure a lot of us ran splits after we did the race, and it's just like that second raid is so chill. Like you're doing the exact same raid, you're doing it on worse characters, but just that thing in the back of your head of like, oh, we gotta go fast, this is for ranking, blah blah blah. Like it just adds so much pressure, and just changes the whole way you like approach it and play the game.
I mean, that's a fair point of all the commenters, because when they look at your race, for example, my race, like I said, I think it's the worst race I've ever done. And when I watch it myself, I'm like, fuck, I'm playing so bad. But I have to tell myself, I'm racing in this moment. Like any person that would be having the pressure. Okay, my guild went back to back, Firelands in Dragon's Hall, but I was not a part of those races. I can't claim any glory for those victories. But I was obviously like going in a race with a guild that has such a background. You have to kind of have that standard, and you think about it. Like no matter who you are, you're a human. Um, so you're going through that idea, and race starts, and you're fucked, like mentally. Like no matter how prepared you are. That's how I died on the very first pack of Mogu'shan vaults. But I've gone through the racing process so many times that I know, like, I instantly call rest. We continue. That's it. It's in that moment, because I've done it so many times. It's another Thursday for me. But like, obviously, dying feels really bad. But what can you do? It happens.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that too when we talked in ICC. Like I was at that point, I had zero race experience, and I was commenting on some of the mistakes that were happening and stuff, and you reiterated over and over again, like, we're only human, we're not robots, like mistakes are going to happen. And especially in a race setting, you don't really understand it until you do it. But like anybody who's just watching it, they're like, oh, he's making like all these little mistakes, like you should know better. And it's like, there's so much extra pressure there, like so much more going on mentally that, you know, isn't there. Every other raid you do the rest of the tier is not going to be there for Mogu'shan Vault. And it's just that one day, that one, you know, 40 to 50 minute MSV raid. You just have all this extra pressure, and it's just a completely different raid than you're going to do the rest of your time raiding that raid.
I think that the biggest difference is that, like, a lot of people say that, okay, you're a great player, you're insane or whatever. I don't think that is true. I think people that play in a world rank 1, 2, 3, like all the guilds in top 3 are, I think, equal. Numen, not that bad. Progress, I think we're all like very equal when it comes to the playing field. And the marginals are so small. But I think when you compare people to any other guild, I think the player level difference when it comes to skill is not that different. When it comes to the difference, I think it's work ethic. Like, you're working at a different mentality and a different mindset. And this is something that I have to thank for my time in progress a lot. When I came from a, like, you know, it was a fairly casual guild, and I joined progress, is that I learned what the mentality for winning is. And now, obviously, I'm a veteran player when it comes to the world first race. Going into Numen, I didn't have to learn it, but like in the guild, it is the same mindset, and it's like very astonishing as a human being that hasn't been in that atmosphere, going into that atmosphere. Like, they're normal players, they're normal guys, but they work so fucking hard, and that's what's astonishing for me. And I admire so many of the guys in the guild for that. Like, especially the officer team in Numen. I think by far out of the, because I've been a part of Progress, I've been a part of Beef Bar. I think the officer team dynamic in Numen is the most impressive that I've seen so far out of any of the guild that I've played in. It's really like remarkable. Like, I've told Fudgy this. I have messaged him that I think this is the best like leadership dynamic that I've ever seen, because I've been a part of leadership myself before in Progress. Like, the dynamic they have, it's so remarkable, and I think it was one of the most key success things that we had going into the race, is that when we went into the PTR, we didn't waste any time. Like, we went straight at like the minimax things and how we should be like dealing with this fight. We didn't waste time progressing the fights or learning the mechanics. We just went in and min-maxed. That's, I think, is the big reason why we 3 healed and a lot of the guilds 4 healed, even not that bad, 4 healed slash 5 healed Will of the Emperor, but we 3 healed slash 4 healed Will of the Emperor. And I think it impacted my side from a tank a lot, since we're in a tank talk. In a Prot warrior, I didn't use like a lot of heroic strikes or executes when I couldn't, because we were one less healer than a lot of the guilds were. And Prot warriors are really healer dependent class when you don't have the maintained vengeance slash maintained revenge reset race generation that you can maintain yourself. So yeah, a lot of these impact.
I definitely want to get into the tank picking philosophy as well. Not sure if we want to do that right now, but I'm very interested to hear a lot of the opinions there and the reasoning for going Prot warrior, especially in an environment where you do run less healers as well. But it's yeah, it'll be a good few hours here that we got ahead of us for sure.
Yeah, let's get into that right now. Credi, what was your thought process behind the BDK Prot warrior? That's actually what we also ran.
All right, so I think that, you know, since I'm keeping the thoughts behind the curtain, it's not that deep. Like, I have to say, this whole Numen thing, whatever I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it for, I mean, Jordy commented on this, that when I told him that, yeah, I'm doing this for fun, I'm doing this for entertainment, that, okay, you're going to the best guild in the world for fun. Like, what is that? but I don't know, like I cannot enjoy the game the same way I can after doing this for this while in a casual guild. Basically, I just wanted to play a class that's fun, and the Prot Warrior kit just works really well. Like, for example, using Elegon, prime example. I am still the world rank 1 damage on that fight after these few days. There's no tank that's even close. There's no DPS that's gone past me. And it's all because I played a Prot Warrior. I think the Brewmaster Monk does similar damage numbers, but the difference is that Prot Warrior funnels more into single target. They heal the same amount, but the difference is that Prot Warrior absorbs, Brewmaster heals. So, and also the Brewmaster Monk, for its glory, it heals the raid more than the, well, Prot Warrior doesn't heal at all, but I think it's, on a fight like Elegon, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, like funneling damage into Elegon, it's super valuable because the ads from the face, like they don't matter. Like it doesn't matter for the speed of the raid. Stuff like this impacted it. And also like when we were playing on beta, I think we ran Brewmaster and DK. I'm not a Brewmaster player myself. The other tank was playing Brewmaster in our guild, and I was playing Blood DK. And he said like Brewmaster doesn't feel that good without gear. And then we had a guy, rather, we have a guy in our guild called Malvanis, who's has a private server background. He streams as well. If you guys want to check him out, Malvanis. He basically said that okay, Prot Warrior is really good in this tier, and I was like, okay, he has a lot of private server knowledge. I have to listen to this guy, but also coming from a guild that has had a lot of Progress had a lot of people from private servers like Unfall, who have a lot of private server knowledge. Private server knowledge does not reflect into Classic. You have to filter that out. A lot of the things they say, like 90% of the things they say are like bullshit. Like it doesn't matter. But 10% of the stuff they say, you have to filter it out. You can't be arrogant. Like if you just disregard everything they say, you're gonna miss out on things. So I'm like, okay, Prot Warrior, he says Prot Warrior. I'm gonna like listen to this guy. I'm gonna look at Prot Warrior. This class seems like it scales really well. Like, I mean, rather doesn't scale, but like the fact is that it's really good with no gear. Like everything it does is static. You press shield block, you prevent the same amount of damage, and that's it. It's great. It's awesome. And like, okay, play it, feels really good. And then at the middle of the PTRs, Blizzard goes out and buffs shield barrier. I'm like, at this point, like we have played like the past rates and like the future rates and everything. I'm like, I have to. This is a leak, but I have like I told my guild is like they must be smoking crack at the Blizzard office, like for buffing this ability. Like
That
I'm
was my
already.
reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, I know this because I've seen your footage of like Empress, for example, and I'm like thinking to myself like they must be smoking crack because like I'm already pressing my shield barrier and getting like 2 milli
Yeah.
and just like absolutely living it and whatever. I'm doing whatever I want. Like healers don't even need to heal me. Now when I'm playing Empress, I'm pressing my shield barrier. I'm like, huh, my shield barrier is expiring. It's not depleting. It's fucking expiring.
Yeah.
Like the shield barrier buff runs out before I have to press it again. But then I heard from people that talk with the devs that a lot of casual people are suffering from the Prot Warrior gameplay. And I kind of understood it 50-50 because I heard that people who don't know how to abuse Vengeance, because Prot Warrior is a very Vengeance, like it relies on Vengeance a lot. So people who don't know how to abuse the mechanic are suffering with it. So that's basically what drove me to play Prot Warrior, is that it scales really well in this tier. I highly doubt that I'll be playing Prot Warrior after this tier. Who knows? But for this tier, it's magnificent because it doesn't rely on any gear, on any stats. It's just good as it is, and that's it. And if you play it in dungeons, challenge modes, it's really bad because it doesn't get the passive healing that a few healers generates on it. But in a raid, it's absolutely magnificent. It's like, can't ask anything more from it. Gives Skull Banner, gives Taunt Banner, Demoralizing Banner, Rallying Cry, all a bonus on top of just being a great tank. You get those things for free. Like, what can you ask more? nothing. Like it's the best tank by far.
I think it's an absolutely incredible tank in 25 man. I do think that it maybe lags a little bit behind for the other people that are playing 10 man, because in 10 man you rely so much more on self sustain than you do in 25 man. But does bring insane value. I just wasn't sure whether that value would be outscaled by the defensive utility for the raid that the Brewmaster brings, while bringing somewhat similar damage. Not the best funneling. Like Warrior is so much better at funneling than Brewmaster is. But yeah, I was expecting Brewmaster to be the representative tank for both of the guilds, especially in a 3 healing environment. You sure did pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, and I think that not that bad. I'm like, I play with a lot of those guys in the past from BFAR. I think they kind of, I'm not sure, like, it's hard to understand because I didn't know the process they went through, but like understanding how tanking works in Mr. Pandaria, I did have a hard time thinking why they ran Brewmaster and Prot Warrior, because both
Right.
of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
tanks kind of have to be hit to be good. And that's why, because like the topic of this discussion, why we ran Prot Warrior and Blood DK, I explained my point of the Prot Warrior. I think Blood DK is just a magnificent tank, even after those nerfs for off tanking. Again, using Elegon as an example, like our tank, the off tank, Blood DK, taunts one of the ads, and through the mechanic of how Vengeance works, he gets half of my Vengeance. But Blood DK doesn't have to be hit to, create the value of the damage the Vengeance does, like, Brewmaster and Prot Warrior do. So that's why I think it is a really, really valuable off tank for this entire tier, not just this raid. Like I think it's a magnificent off tank, and I think all the nerfs that the Blood DK has had has really shadowed the power that it has. And if you're a really good one, you can still bring out a lot of damage with it.
Thoughts on that, Riyani?
No, I agree. I don't think necessarily that you don't need to be hit, because so much of your runic power regeneration is tied up into Sand of Blood. But it is I think it is kind of unfortunately defaulted into an off tank in with the nerves, unfortunately, because I don't like to play that way. um but the good thing about the vengeance scaling as well for Bloody K is that they don't rely on it for their utility. A brewmaster would need to have a lot of vengeance to truly shine with their defense utility to the raid, with their raid absorbs, whereas the healing from bloodworms literally do not even scale with vengeance at all. So you're getting all of your defensive utility with no vengeance, even if you aren't playing around vengeance as a tank swap mechanic, which you generally are if you're pushing at a high level, of course.
I think just to clarify, you have a great point that, of course, Blood DK does benefit from getting hit. I think my statement was more relative to the other tanks. Like, again,
Especially
very
Prot
easy
Warrior,
example. Yeah, easy example is Prot Warrior. Like, Prot Warrior is completely useless when it's not getting hit. And again, bringing to the point, if not that bad, use the Prot Warrior as an off tank, it doesn't make sense to me, because that tank really loves to get hit. Like, Blood DK, yes, it benefits, but I think in comparison to all other tanks, it's by far the best of not getting hit and stealing vengeance and doing damage by such means. Like, that was my point mainly. But yeah, like absolutely, yeah, Blood DK benefits from getting hit, but I think it shines the best out of all the tanks that are not getting hit.
Yeah, definitely
I think
agree.
that's true. You do have the best single target with no vengeance out of all tanks by far, and you can even see that out in the world where you're doing dailies even, and you're just hitting like a truck without any help. But playing BDK as off tank feels very very bad and unrewarding to the player. So you have to be in a mental state that says, "All right, I'm just here to bloodworm, I guess, and grip and whatnot." But I think most BDK players to begin with are main tank types or people who like to push their damage in a second expansion in a row, you know? So that's definitely a tough one. We also did use a Prot warrior just like you guys though, and we did do, you know, there is 0 ego between the 2 tanks in our guild, that we used for me and Crunk. Crunk is another really good player, and we did let him do the Elegon thing. Previously, when you had army vengeance buffed, you just used the army, right? But warrior with execute, being able to kite for, or not maybe kite, but like get hit for as long as possible without killing the little ads, you get insane execute value from that. So we did recognize that as well.
Yeah,
That was
I can't. I mean, this is obviously a leak, but because it's changed, I can talk about it. This is something that I came up with when we were playing on I think it's Windlord, right? The fourth boss. I always mix Windlord and Blade Lord. It's the boss after Gara'jal is Windlord, right?
Windlord. Yep, Windlord.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we ran 5 or 6 blood DKs before the army nerf.
All
Like
right.
basically you select vengeance and then you just utilize the army snapshot, and we would have every single blood DK do more damage than the first DPS was doing. And this is something that I said that, okay, let's try it out. Got nerfed. What can you do? But yeah, like the army vengeance change, I think it's bad, like for the massive population of the game, because I think army is a button now that you don't press except for maybe pre-pull. I think
You
it's
just
bad
go
for
back to
the
doing pre-pull, but yeah. It's
yeah, like
definitely
I think
not a
it's
big
bad because
3
Same with
million
race dead.
damage anymore.
I heard a rumor that the dev said that they wanted to be used as a defensive cooldown on a blood DK, and I think it's like kind of bad because like you'd rather use a death strike than Army of the Dead. It
Oh no.
doesn't really make any
The
sense.
devs killed Riyani.
The DR is really
RIP.
good. We were able to use it, in the later tiers, especially not in MSV, where you're taking insane damage and it's just 30% flat, and then it's also your top vengeance. Usually at that point, that's where you press it, so it does the most damage, and it provides utility. It's like a little CD for yourself, you know. But in this tier, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
rest in
sure,
pieces.
if you're running a blood DK, and I think blood DK kind of gets the crime of being too good too early. I don't see a world where you run it too much later on, and now that it's good, I feel like Blizzard thought it was too good because people know how to play it from kata, and gameplay doesn't change too much. People are playing it a lot. The representation was really high, um, and I think it suffered from that. And I'm really sad about it because like a lot of people who were really hyped about playing Blood DK, cranking on it, you know, they get completely fucked and can't do what you're supposed to do, even though the class itself is not unbalanced. I think it was completely fine, even without these nerfs. And I don't know, I really find it sad.
The thing is, though, that I will say that I think they were slightly overtuned when we played them in the first few weeks of testing. The reason why I say that they were overtuned, however, was not because of the army. Like army, sure, it's like it has incredible value on a fight like Windlord, but let's not like kid ourselves about that being an accurate representation of every type of scenario that you have in Mists of Pandaria. Like it's okay for a tank to have a niche. I mean, maybe that's a cooked take, but that's my take. Also, the reason why the DKs were so broken was because they had an additional AP scaling on Rune Strike, and that made the overall damage breakdown look really borked. If you do look at just the damage breakdown of a normal type of army over a longer fight, you know, it's not like it's not insane utility. But then if you were to just say, well, one button should never do that much damage, then you have to remove Skull Banner and Stormlash from the game as well. Because they have a like, you know, they have a very similar breakdown. If you know, if the only difference is that the blood DK damage is attributed to the blood DK in the logs, whereas Stormlash and Skull Banner is not. So
They also don't cost anything, that and they're instant. So
Yes.
you're absolutely right about this. But I also think that the question about the blood decay tuning is that you have to choose, especially when you're doing, okay, when you're doing single target, the tuning is, very debatable. But when you're doing AoE, you have to choose between the self-maintenance of Death Striking or spamming Blood Boil. Like, if you spam Blood Boil over and over again, you're gonna do great damage. No questions asked. But when you're playing a Prot Warrior, you can do the damage and be unhittable. Like, you're not gonna take any damage by pressing the shield barrier and cooldown when you're getting spam revenge over and over again. So I think that's a fair point when it comes to the Blood Decay nerfs, is that you're looking at a class that has to choose versus a class that doesn't have to choose. You're getting both at the same price. Blood Decay is getting completely fucked because you have the usual resources. You're gonna have to choose Blood Boil, Army of the Dead, Death Strike, like whatever it is. You have to choose. You have to press those. You have to time those. But Prot Warrior just spams Revenge and gets the W. Like, I think that's like the unfair point when it comes to the Blood Decays, and that's what I didn't really agree when Blizzard nerfed the Blood Decay stuff.
Do you think we see a point later on where they tune this and maybe Bloody K gets some of its power back? I think they've kind of said they want to leave things alone for the first phase, and then for like Throne of Thunder is when they would start changing things again. I think we'll see
I don't know.
any
I think they
reverts or
see the
anything.
representation that Bloody Case have in the raid, and then they're like, well, this is fine. Honestly.
I feel like they also wouldn't have gotten nerfed if it wasn't that they were just the dominant tank for an entire year in Kata and had, I forget what it was it like 60, 70% representation, something like that?
I mean, like I said, I think the fact that people who were comfortable with Blood Decay and played it a lot on BTR, and Blizzard were like, okay, everyone's playing Blood Decay and doing great numbers. And because like I said, they are essentially playing the same class with Soul Reaper, and you also have to snapshot your dots better. A lot of people are performing great at it, like the mass. And you're looking at the other tanks that have completely changed, like completely different classes that the mass don't really perform on. I think Blizzard is looking at, oh my god, everyone's cranking on Blood Decay. This class must be really, really good. I think they misunderstood that part. And I think that's the real issue. It's not that Blood Decay is insane or whatever. I think it's really good and great tank, has a great toolkit, and I think you can play it for the entire tier, or the expansion rather. Even if it doesn't get changed, you're gonna do really well in your own guild with that class. I think it's a great tank because the parts that got nerfed were really like, okay, it doesn't matter for like your average progression guild. I think the class is really great, but like I think like Blizzard really misread the situation by the representation that people had on BTR.
I think honestly that one of the biggest issues as well was that in this kind of context, like you had everyone kind of already had their, they already had the base skill level from Kata. But I think the second reason as well is that because there was so much excitement around the MoP Bloody K, you had 10 times more theory crafting and resources for the average player out there to take benefit of and come in and perform at a high level right away. Whereas you didn't have that for like any of the other class, like even the Prot Warrior Discord, Prot Pally Discord, and like all of these places are completely dead. You don't have any theory crafting going on, and you're like, all right, well, where does the average player go for this kind of information? Whereas you go for a Bloody K, and then you have a ton of resources, and yeah, so I think that's a big thing that played into that as well.
Yeah. Where can people find that theory crafting, Riyani, these days?
I don't know. I mean, Wowhead.
Who writes those articles?
I don't know, man. Just
some guy, some Swede, yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I'm gonna, I'm not afraid to toot my own horn a little bit, but I'm really proud of a lot of the stuff that we did early on with the Discord community and all of the stuff and joint resources that we had in and building tools, especially with Kaisman, my WeakAuras friend, and my officer in my guild, who is helping out and creating great resources for the classes. And yeah, so like that definitely did help going into the beta sessions.
Yeah, definitely check out Riyani's Discord, guys. We'll plug it again at the end, but I mean, tons of good theory crafting going on in there. And then obviously the WoWhead articles, Prot and Bloody K. Fantastic.
That's right.
Whenever there's a really good Wowhead article that you can just link people, it makes things so much easier. It's like, yo, everything's right here that you need to know about this class. And, a lot of the Wowhead articles over the years, you never know. It like depends who's writing them. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. It just depends on the author. And I mean, Prowler and Bloody K, we got those ones absolutely covered with Riyani right now, which is very nice. Very, very nice.
Guardian
Very
Druid
kind.
one.
I do want to go in and add a little bit of layers and complexity on the Protware, because I haven't had as much testing in the raids, like progression type of raids with that class. I'm sure there's a lot of optimizations we can get into there. So that'll be my next big project.
I have to compliment you, Riyani, on the biz list that you did for the Wowhead guide. It was like you said you didn't really have testing on the class, but like the biz list was spot on. Like it was really good. It's a borderline like I mean, not even borderline. It is exactly what I would have gone for without looking anything. Like your biz list is like fucking spot on. The pre-raid biz. Like it's great. Like really, really, really big congrats on that one.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, I think me and Credi both. Credi was in my stream the other day, like looking at the gear I was running, and we were running the exact same thing, and it was just your bis list basically. So yeah, we tested it out for you. It's good.
I think
that's good. I'll reference that.
I think Rune from Not That Bad, like the World Rank 2 Prot Warrior, was running the same stuff as well. Like it's like really well made. Like really, really big props for that.
I appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Well done. All right. Let's see. Where did we start on that? We started with breaking down class, right? Tank class. We got so far away. Let's see. Cow. I didn't get a chance to look at your comp. I'm sorry. Did you guys run Protware Bloody K?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically everybody here ran Protware Bloody K. Riyani ran Prot Pally Brew. Is that correct?
Bloody K Brew.
Bloody K Brew. What was your thought process on that? Just bringing the extra ox absorbs?
Primarily, like, we have always had a history of being a very safe progression guild. Like our high ranks rarely come from us outperforming the other guilds in having good strategies to get high and quick, kill times. It usually just comes from not wiping. Like in DS, we were like, I think like one of the only guilds that didn't wipe. I don't think, did Numen have a wipe? I don't think so.
No,
it was close at the end, but they had oh god, what was his name? Nestor did like the kite at the end, right? I think.
Yeah. But I think the biggest difficulty they had a mage die on Madness, and their fourth platform was really tight, and that's it. But they did not wipe, no.
Yeah, but in hindsight, I think there was so much more we could have done with this specific expansion being so important, placing so much emphasis on vengeance, that in hindsight, I think that maybe we could have been a little bit more aggressive in our approach, and maybe even changed around our tank comp a little bit. I think we went in with what we were comfortable with. I was very comfortable with Bloody K, and I think Bloody K was the right pick for this raid. And Diara, who is our other tank, is a notorious Brewmaster player as well, so very comfortable on that spec as well. Even though I think he would have been able to flex into the other into Prot Warrior, or if Prot Pally was the move, I think he would be able to flex into that as well. The main reason why we had it is because it was a safe pick for the raid, and it would just provide us with the least chance of dying while also still being a very, very solid pumper. Like, Brew after. Don't even get me started on Brew buffs as well, like the single target buff that they got. I don't know. Okay, let's not derail. Like, they were solid throughput tank as well, especially because they can play around Vengeance really well. And that was kind of our thought process. Just solid offensive tanks while also being, really, really solid defensively as well for the raid.
In hindsight, if you look at logs, do you think it actually helped though, or would have helped more than a Proud Warrior? Him being Brewmaster?
Probably not. But it's hard to get a read on that. Like which type of deaths were prevented by a big guard. It's hard to tell. There were some spicy moments. We had a similar moment to Credi, where we stunned too early. Did that help? And did the bloodworms and the guards help in that? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily. I think we could have probably run without a monk and maybe would have performed better. But I don't think we had the appropriate resources to prepare for that comp to be a better solution than what we already had.
I think the biggest thing. Sorry,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Credi.
So I think the biggest thing that I experienced that was really good at picking the Prot Warrior. So what we had happen on Will of the Emperor, the melee DPS boys fucked up, and they had the Spark be there at the boss. We had it multiple times happen on the PTR, and I played through it, but like in the consensus, we agreed that we wouldn't do it purposely, just because like the risk reward ratio wasn't there. And like, okay, when it happened in the race, I'm like, fuck yeah, like let's go. Like the people were panicking in Discord, and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. I was really happy that it happened.
Intentional. I thought it was intentional.
Yeah, I would assume so, because like when it happened, I was like, oh! Like I'm like, I get to fucking crank. I had no bad feelings about it. It happened, and I'm like, get the crank. Prot Warrior is great for that, because like the bot attacks more, and that's great for Prot Warrior. I'm getting more revenge resets. Like how the Prot Warrior scales is if you get attacked faster, you just get more survivability, more vengeance, more shield barriers. More shield barriers and bigger shield barriers. Like absolutely great. But yeah, absolutely not intentional, but absolutely welcome. Like very easy to sum it up.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. So DR has insane amounts of MoP like P server experience. Was it his personal choice to play the Brewmaster, or did like the guild leadership kind of push him in that direction over Prot Warrior, or what kind of happened there?
No, I mean the Brewmaster was definitely the default, but it was it was what we wanted.
Okay, just joint, consensus that he'd play that. Okay, and I mean he's the most experienced Brewmaster in the world, so at the same time, it's like, it's obviously not a bad choice. I know he can play all the tanks really, really, really well, but I think he's probably most known for his brew. I actually talked to him before like MoP came out. I was just asking him questions about like, all the different stuff, making sure I had everything in order, like stat priorities, things like that. And he was super helpful. He answered all my questions. Very, very nice. I wasn't even expecting a response from him, so that was very kind of him. But Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. Let's see. I guess we haven't really talked about Prop Ally or Guard Injured, so we could talk about those if any of you guys have played them. I played Prop Ally in our split. It felt noticeably worse than the Prot were, but my Prop Ally also was like 10 eye levels lower.
Well, yeah, that'll help.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my Prop Ally was a rush job. It was just, the day before or something. It like ding 90. Got as much gear as I could. I got like 465, I think. And then went in. Yeah, it definitely felt worse, but very doable. Like we cleared the whole raid fine. I was never the issue on the Prop A. So
I think Blizzard did a great job at giving the 10% haste. I think the class this early, with the itemization you have from the heroic gear, which is very much not haste balanced, you would be completely fucked. I think
yeah,
when you have full raid gear, no problem. But when you're going into heroic gear, which is like, okay, everything's parry mastery, dodge mastery, parry dodge, you're fucked. Like you're just you're suffering. Like it's not a fun class to play. But as soon as you get raid gear, you're gonna be shining, no problem. And the
So the
10%
question
haste is like really nice.
is it the right move to balance all the tanks based on the first tier only? Because everybody that played MoP server has said Prop Ally by tier 15 is BIS by a mile. And so what's going to happen now is you're going to be strong early on, assuming you get geared. Even in this tier, you're going to start getting really strong. What happens next tier? What
I
happens
think
by the end of this tier?
the real question is that we haven't had an answer for the specific question is when Cyrene said that they're going to be changing or timing these balance changes. Like they said, okay, they're going to be changing these like custom changes that they have. When are they going to do it? We don't have information on that. Are we going to go into Throne of Thunder with the 10% haste? Are we going to go do it with like a 5.4 balance Prot Paladin? Like that's the real question. It's a really hard question to answer, really hard topic to discuss. Like, how can we know before Blizzard gives their own answer when we're on the mercy of their balancing questions?
Yeah, I think also have to take with a grain of salt. How we're the ancient wisdoms or the somewhat newer wisdoms from people like Malv, who's wrong 99% of the time. But
damn.
but yeah, I do think that it can definitely be a problem. But I really really do hope that they do have their their finger on the pulse at least somewhat. I am a little bit disappointed with how actual little attention and communication MoP has gotten, despite the early initial way that they were handling Miss Pandaria, where we kind of had a lot of hands-on approach, a lot of blue posts, a lot of tuning, a lot of stuff happening. But now kind of feels like we're kind of left behind a little bit. So that worries me for going into the next few tiers where we need to talk about these balance things again. But who knows? We'll see what ends up happening here.
I think the dev Discord that is existing has big impact on the community. And coming from a season of discovery background where I raided in the World Rank 2 guild, we were going into a lot of things very blind, and the number one guild had extensive communication with Blizzard through the dev Discord. It felt unfair, and I feel like it has continued in Mr. Pandaria, where a lot of the class balance and everything has been communicated through the dev Discord. They gone through of okay what they're doing, what they've changed, to a private channel of people, and the public, which includes me. I'm not in the dev Discord. We're kept completely in the blind, and we're just okay. All of a sudden, the thing is changed, but we have no change log of it, and you hear from a friend that it's been changed, and you have information, and it's complete bullshit in my opinion. Either you communicate better, or you ask more people into the dev Discord. Like, it's just, I think it's a really bad thing. Like, this is a heavy criticizement. Like, it's a very bad thing or way to handle the situation. Like, they made a huge sum up, like a huge essay of things that they changed, especially when they made this challenge mode thing. Like, there was a huge list of blue lists that they did. I think it's not enough. Like, they would have to actually do these announcements, because some of these things were months old, like 1 or 2 months old, that were announced in the dev Discord that I got to hear about, not read myself. I think it's incredibly unhealthy for the game.
Yeah, I feel like routinely I'm not in that Discord, but I do hear from other people like a week in advance usually, oh, this is coming down the line, and it's like, okay, like you know, maybe it could be more open for sure. And also a lot of the communication is just on the GitHub. I don't know if you're like aware of this, but like on the GitHub where you can like report bugs and stuff like that, like Zyrene responds to tons of those things, and a lot of information is just in Zyrene's comments on the GitHub. So like anybody who isn't reading that, they're missing all sorts of stuff. Like I just happened to be like scrolling through it, and I saw something about somebody suggested a change that monks don't get their 20% XP buff for 85 to 90 in MoP. And Zyrene responded to it. He's like, yeah, we agree. We're going to change it to mastery. Everybody that was coming in my chat kept talking about, you know, the monk XP buff. They expected that to be a thing. And I kept telling them, like, no, Zyrene said in this GitHub comment, like, they changed it already. It's not going to be a thing. And there's just so much information in those GitHub comments. And it would be kind of nice, you know, if those were a little more publicly available for people. Obviously, like, anybody can go to the GitHub, sure. But, I mean, what percentage of players are going to the GitHub, reading through every comment to, like, get this information? It would be nice if there was, you know, something a little more
Yes, are being
accessible.
very delicate about it. I think it's just straight up wrong to have people need to go into a private section of somewhere on the internet to go read on something that may or may not pertain to them, rather than giving precise blue posts of updates or incoming updates or stuff like that. I think that it's not harsh enough, the criticism on Blizzard for this, coming from an organization at least.
I think
Not,
there's a
not to
myself.
mention that you have to actually go in and read all of the useless posts that people put on the GitHub
Exactly.
to get the answers in the
Yeah,
comment
there's
sections.
hundreds, right? I think it's like 600 or something like that. Yeah.
Do you
I think
remember
there's a
if
good.
Purgatory is supposed to be reset? Sorry, Credi. Purgatory,
Oh,
I swear, they said they were gonna reset it on Encounter End, did they not?
I don't know, man. I have no idea what they say.
That's is exactly the problem, right? Because I remember reading about it on the GitHub, and then I sure enough get Purgatory after Stone Dogs and going into Feng, and it's just completely shocked that I even have it. But I could be wrong as well. I just don't know because it's not on the blue post, which the last blue post with encompassing the changes also did include some of the Blood Decay nerfs or changes as well. They're giving a summary, but it's very hard to come by a detail. Like if it's going to be a summary, I think I don't know. It's just it's messed up because things on there were not correct, and even even the world bosses, right? Like you read the post, you're like, all right, I got a while until Galleon Shavanger is up or are up, and then you log in and here they are. You just never know anymore. Really, it's true. It
I
may
think
seem small, but
what I was coming to, I think a great middle ground would be that Wowhead as an entity, which is very well followed by players, would follow up on this GitHub trend. Is that they would go into GitHub and report on the things that were, first of all, really, really awesome. That Cyrene's comments on GitHub, like that he posts there, because I think it's a great avenue to talk about these changes. But I think Wowhead could maybe pick up on that a little bit and report on a bigger scale, because I think Wowhead is the very well the biggest avenue when it comes to reporting on things related to WoW, Classic, WoW, whatever, right? I think they would have a great opportunity if they actually dive deep into GitHub and reported on those things. Like, that's just my take on that.
I
there
think that's
definitely
honestly
could be a
a
lot.
a good thing, and I'm honestly gonna suggest it to one of my my leads. That being said, it does definitely not feel great to even have to think about the thought of a a private company having to fill the role of the thing that they're supposed to do.
It's just another,
Um,
it's another third-party company that has to step in for a developer that is not doing their job, or a game
like
developer.
if I if I'm just putting it out there, okay, if Blizzard wants to hire me, I will do it. But it's not a great solution to have the another company doing the job of what Blizzard's supposed to do. I don't know.
Yeah, like there's so much information too. Like, I mean, it's awesome. I love that Zyrene, engages with the community and everything, but there needs to be like some central announcement of all this stuff, because like a lot of the things I see, it's like a Discord screenshot of like something Zyrene said in like the Prop Alley Discord, for example. And I'm like, is that a fake screenshot? Like, I gotta go to Prop Alley Discord, search Zyrene's, post, see if he actually said that, stuff like that. We just need something like centralized, like routinely, at least once a week, little update on all these things. Ideally, anytime something major like that's announced, you just do it every day, but at least once a week. Also, sorry, just on the topic of like some of these changes that have been announced but aren't actually in the game. The Valor change, dude. Can we get this Valor buff? The 50% more Valor once you've gotten like 1,000 Valor on one of your characters. Like, it's been in multiple like patch notes they've posted, and it's just not there. And as somebody leveling or gearing 5 raid characters for this week, it really sucks that's not there.
Although you're forgetting that they posted in the GitHub that it's going live with the next weekly reset.
Oh no.
Subtle. Have you not been
Oh
reading the
my
GitHub?
god.
Oh my goodness.
I don't.
I haven't.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't read it in like a week, so I probably missed everything.
I have to say to Cyrene, I really appreciate his enthusiasm on answering these comments, like responding to things. But I really think that the community, like I said, Wowhead before, maybe should have an avenue of, directing these official posts, official, statements to a wider audience. Because when you have blue posts or GitHub comments, it might not be reached to people, but I think Wowhead reaches more people than Blue Post do. Like, straight up, I think Wowhead is bigger than Blue Post. Fully honestly.
Well, probably not, because all the Wowhead stuff, all the blue bills gets posted on Wowhead. But if it was like a comparison, like if you didn't have Wowhead facilitating that information, then yeah, definitely, 100%.
Well, safe to say this could be handled better, but I mean, I think we can move on from this because
Yep.
it'll never end. You know what I mean?
Why were we here again? What
Uh,
was the
we started on, we were talking about prop highs, and I don't
And
know.
Guardian Druids, of
Somehow we
course.
got here. I mean, did anybody play Guardian also? Like, I do want to talk about it at some point, but if nobody played it, we'll skip it.
None of us
when I
did, I don't
looked
think.
yesterday at the logs, there was not a single Guardian Druid that I had killed. I was just looking at Spirit Kings, but yeah, and there was
Not
no
a
one that I
single.
killed it then.
Okay, not a single Guardian Druid
So,
killed Spirit Kings.
no, not a single one at that point. No. So
All
yeah.
right. So I mean, I guess nobody in the world's playing a Guardian Druid, so we can move on.
It's gonna keep getting buffed until somebody does.
From my understanding, it does scale very well and become very good later, but it's not a good spot right now.
We will have eventually my guild leader and your friend Ken. He's probably gonna have Guardian Druid Feral and it's just not going to be for races though.
Okay.
Can I like get
So
something
I'll
out
have
of the
more
way, by the
info.
way?
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm memeing on who druids all the time, like they're not in a bad spot. They just don't currently bring the utility that you would want in a race setting. But if you're not in a race setting, they're more than fine. They actually have fairly high output, especially in environments where you can cleave, where you get good value from your berserk. Like they're not bad. As much as I meme on them all the time, they're not bad. So don't feel discouraged if you want to play them.
Yeah.
I think MoP is a great expansion to play whatever tank you really like. Like every tank has an avenue, every tank has a niche. You can play whatever you want. Like no matter what the top guilds in the world play, just play whatever tank you really like. If you're good at it, you're good at it. You're gonna do better. Like in your own atmosphere. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, that's another thing people don't mention all the time too, is like not everybody's a good multi-classer. Like some people are really, really good prop alley players, like they're lost on a blood decay. Like if you're just a sick prop alley player, or even if you just love prop alley and you don't really like the other tanks as much, just play prop alley. Like, I mean, this is a play what you like expansion. If you're in a race setting, sure, you need to min-max a little bit more, like we said, but if you're not racing, dude, just play what you like.
I'm one of
Yeah.
those examples. Blood Decay, I'm horrible at. Like snapshotting, weakness of mine. Prot Paladin is not one of those. Prot Paladin has virtually no snapshotting. Okay, you press your Sacred Shield or Eternal Flame on snapshot. The dots of Blood Decay, it's foreign to me. I'm really bad at it. I think Riyani is really good at it. But like, keep me out of those. Like, I don't wanna I don't wanna be a part of those. Prot Paladin, great. Blood Decay, please. I hope I don't play it anymore.
Absolutely. So I think we're pretty wrapped up on that stuff. You guys want to just go over like tips and tricks for all the bosses?
I think so. I was told though that maybe we spill a little bit of the tea on what happened in the race as well. We kind of danced around the issue. But I would like to hear
Sure.
some tea about everything that went down in the race.
Yeah, so I'll just set the table, but Credi has more information than any of us. So basically, the raids went live significantly earlier than they should have. I think it was like 7 hours. It was set to release at 3 p.m. Pacific on Thursday. The raid and the world bosses, which weren't supposed to come out till Heart of Fear, suddenly appeared at, I think, like 8 a.m. Pacific, something like that. And Progress went in, they killed a few bosses, and then Blizzard caught on to it. They teleported their characters to GM Island. They weren't able to log into them. And then shortly before the race, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, they were given like 4-hour bans, so they couldn't participate in the race. But that's the general information that's out there that I know. Credi, is there anything you want to add to that?
So I think a lot of these questions, people have Captain Hindsight answers to, like South Park has, But speaking for myself, I remember being 17 server time. I was in a raid on Fresh. I was killing Molten Core. And I was looking at these guys enter Mogu'shan Vaults, like getting spammed with screenshots of like, okay, /who progress Mogu'shan Vaults. I'm like, there is no way, like, this is a good thing. Like, not even for a second I thought that this is gonna benefit them. Like, I did not for a second, not for a blink of an eye, think that I'm missing out. I thought that I am going to be racing at midnight. That's it. The reason for this, I had two main thoughts. First thought was that Blizzard had very harshly addressed the round first challenge mode gold achievement. They wanted to establish that it's fair. The people who actually competed get it, And the second part was that 2 weeks prior, we had the Rush opening on Fresh. Progress, progress as here, went to clear the raid. But Warcraft Logs addressed this by not establishing the progression rankings. There is no progression rankings on their front page. So I thought there's 2 points. Blizzard really crunched down on this on MoP launch through the challenge mode rankings, and Warcraft Logs as a second entity crunched down on this, by their stance, however you want to call it. I said, there's no problem. And okay, first of all, I'm really sad that they did not get the race. I think it would, like, as a racer, I hope that everyone gets the race that are competitive. But I also think that they fucked up. Like, I told one-on-one on a really good friend that races in progress, I told them that I don't think this has a good result. Like, I don't think there is a good end outcome of choosing this, going to the raid. And he said that, yeah, I can't decide. It's not my decision. And that's something, as an ex-officer, I really appreciate that if an officer or raid leader decides, then everyone goes abroad. So yeah, like I'm really sad for the progress people that were committed to this race. A lot of practice, a lot of everything, their heart, their soul, and they can't get the race. But then again, I told Church Vibes, if you make your bed, you gotta sleep in it. And that's the reality of it. Numen and Not That Bad both had a raid ready to go in. Both guilds decided to not race. That's a conscious decision by both number 1 and number 2 guild. We did think of it that, okay, there's no good end outcome of this decision on it, and this is the outcome. I'm not saying this as Captain Hindsight, I'm saying this as how things actually played on, and that's my end of it.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, what was their thought process? Because, like, to me, I feel like the best outcome is like the raid just gets reset and like you go again. So I didn't really understand what the upside was there.
Yeah, like it is like I couldn't really grab onto it. Like the basically the easiest thing that you can really grab onto is the AQ, which is that Blizzard didn't interfere. Like, they cleared AQ on Fresh, they kept out the loot, they cleared the raid. Nothing happened. They didn't get slapped on the wrist, nothing. But the Warcraft Logs didn't include the rankings on their front page. That's it. And like I said before, that was my last line of thought process. This time, I had a second thought because how the round first challenge mode goals were approached. That Blizzard really wanted to crack down on like how people approach the round first achievements, or whatever you wanna call it, duel first, round first, classic first, whatever. I was confident about it. Even in the moment, I'm not saying this in hindsight. In the moment, I was like, this is not gonna fly. Like, I had no concerns about it whatsoever.
I think my issue with it as well is that even with the thought process of what happened in AQ40, at some point you gotta think as well, what's the glory? Like, what's the point of getting this world first if we're not competing against anyone? Even if they
Yeah,
didn't
so
know that, well, okay, some of the other guilds were inside if you did a /who and you don't know what they're doing, it's if even if everyone else raids at the same time, it's like all of the guilds are it's not official. It's not gonna be recognized. So I think, yeah, I think that's ultimately what kind of steers me away from the AQ40 comparisons. But at the same time, I do kind of understand in the heat of the moment, everything is kind of happening very quickly. It's unexpected. You're a part of me like understands it. Like we had a group in there too, right? We did not kill the boss, obviously. But we all had the same call. You know, it's like, oh shit, if things are up, let's just grab 25 people and go inside. And then it was like, wait a minute. Let's not do that. That's it can only backfire. So yeah, I understand it, but also at the same time, it has now we have a precedent, right? Without it, we maybe don't have a precedent, and if it's something happening in the future, then we could go down a similar route again. But I don't think anyone after this experience would ever consider cheating in an environment like that. So that's a silver lining, I think.
I think this is exactly what I told to all my friends who still play in Progress, because I used to play there. I'm very close to a lot of these people. I said, like, what did you think? Like, even if you had the opportunity, there is no good outcome. Like, the last line of defense or like backfire is that Warcraft logs would not allow you to do this. Just like very easy to think. Even if Blizzard didn't interfere, even if nothing happened on that side, Warcraft logs would not allow this to fly on their progression rankings, and that is the premises of what all of these top guilds are competing for, is the Warcraft logs rank 1. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just saw zero upside in it. It was a little puzzling to me, especially with how much preparation goes into it. I mean, like racing against nobody, like what's the point? And yeah,
I think Blizzard for the first time is starting to realize that even though it's classic and it's all been done before, this is a race environment, even if it's not race to real world. First, it's still a progression race on your realm, and they're recognizing that. And retail players, for much, much less than Dragonflight, abusing little things got banned during that time for them. So that's how I view it, as Blizzard is starting to recognize that as well. I mean, I think it's too late. MoP is a little late, but still, they should not have done that. But there's just no. It's like you said, right? It's puzzling. There's no upside. If you're in an organization that knows they're going to race, what are you thinking? Like, what edge is that going to give you to go in there 5 hours ahead of everybody? How does that look to everybody else?
I mean, even if you clear, how is the community it's like all comes
That's
down
exactly my
to
point. Yeah,
community. Like,
nobody appreciates that. It's you can call this by a lot of names. I'm not going to, but we all know what it is. It's just not. It's not right.
the community tells that you're world rank 1 or not. Like, for example, on retail, we had this some kind of exploiter that killed Galliwix, world rank 1, because he just went in there and exploited something. Okay, the community is going to disregard that completely. How do you think that the community on Classic is going to feel if you go in there 6 hours early of the pre-announced time? It's not going to fly. Like, it's. I wish I was saying this, before the things happened, but I thought the same back then. I'm saying the same now. It's just how it is.
yeah. Anything else on that, or I think we can probably move on. I think we've kind of said everything that needs to be said there.
Yeah, let's actually do the MSV deep dive.
It's a good little detour, because it is important. I mean, when one of the top guilds is missing from the race, it takes away from everybody.
I had to clarify. I'm really sad that they couldn't attempt, because I'm a pure competitor. I don't do this for attention. I don't do this for clout. I fucking love the competition, like the process, the result, everything. And because Progress, I used to rate there, there's like a lot of them are like good friends of mine. For example, first MSV weekend of PTR I missed because I was in a holiday trip with the main tank of Progress. Like, main tank of Numen, which is myself, main tank of Progress. We were on a trip abroad together. both of the guilds were racing or progressing on PTR without the main tanks because both of us were drinking in Prague.
That's awesome. I love that.
Like that's the whole thing. I love playing. I love the fucking game. Them getting banned was such a bummer. I just wish they got their ID reset, loot removed, they got the race. Like that's the dream outcome. But yeah, like if they didn't do all that shit, who knows what could have happened. I think they could have had a good chance to win, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime progress is in a race, they are absolutely competing for that top spot. All right. Yeah, let's get to the MSV bosses now. So on my stream I've got I've kind of just been looping Numen's World First from Credi's POV. But just starting out, one thing you guys did differently on the dogs that we didn't like. For us, we mainly were just getting like reps on bosses. We didn't really get to the point where we got to like practice trash much. And I mean, that definitely showed because I mean, things like this where you guys do the glider into through the first pack into the second pack, that was amazing. We love that. I know this is a tough moment for you. I know, Credi, with the death there, but I really appreciate that tech because it's just so simple, but it's like something we didn't do, and it's something we will be doing, I'm sure.
I mean, as I said before, even commented to the progress question, you make your bed, you sleep in it. I prepared poorly, as I said, like maybe an hour ago. I prepared very poorly. I played poorly for the half of the raid, like first half of the raid. I gotta take account for those things. I played poorly. But one thing I have to comment is that I don't know if it's psychological, if it's concretical. The trash felt like it fucking slapped. It hurt on live. On BTR, it felt like I was, stable Ronaldo singing payphone. Like everything was fully chill. Nothing was happening. But on live, I'm just getting slapped. Like even on Will of the Emperor, even fighting the boss, I felt like I was getting slapped. I don't know if it's like the nerves of the moment or something, but this caused me to die 2 times. Like I don't know what else to say about it.
I definitely identify with the trash just feeling significantly like more difficult because on the beta we were regularly pulling all the packs together. Like once we dealt with one of the petrified ads, just pulling everything together and AoEing it down. But that was pretty rough this time around.
Did you have a chance to look at logs and like compare if things were actually hitting harder?
I mean, I'm the type of a player that I just feel craft. I YOLO things. Like
Okay.
I have to clarify that I'm the wrong person to interview in this thing. Like I take very little attention to detail when it comes to like background knowledge, whatever. Like I just YOLO it. I have fun. I do this as entertainment. This whole racing thing. I don't take it seriously. Like it's fun for me. Like even the class discussion is like I played Warrior because it's fun to play. That's it. So maybe I'm the wrong person to ask if like I very tackled down on the details of what went wrong and what went right. After the race, like I said, I apologized to my guildies and that's it of how I almost wiped us. But I didn't really take attention to global to global how I played the race.
Yeah, to kind of add on to the point of like being a field craftsy player, I'm gonna be real. If you are raiding in an environment that is like top 10, top 20, whatever, you do have your finger on the pulse when it comes to like what is good. Like what makes a stat good. You know what button is good. You know the moment you start delving into just completely number based type of approach of how should I be approaching things, you end up like some of the people on some of the discords that are, I'm sure, great players in their own right, but not gonna head into heroic progression until another few weeks away. It's um it is good to have numbers to back up what you're doing, but ultimately, if you're raiding in this kind of an environment, field crafting is a completely viable thing, a way to approach the game.
And I have to say, I have played this game for 20 years, and I'm most likely the most ungifted player when it comes to mechanics that has ever gotten a world first in Classic history. But I have a great understanding of how things work, how things will be. I have things that I know that I have things that I can predict things that this will happen and it will happen. But like the actual rotational part that I will never perform the Orlandos or the dices of the game. Um, but I think I have a good mind of how things will work before things are explained in a guide. I think that's the gist of it. Like I honestly think I'm one of the worst players to ever get a world first. Like that's just to sum things up.
That is that's kind of wild to hear. I just pulled up your Warcraft logs just for context. Like you got 2 100s on that world first, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm bad at the rotation. Like it's like, I mean, it's all relative, right? Like you,
I think that's up to my mind. I have a great mind. I know how things work. But for example, if you look at Elegon, it's a perfect example. If you look at tanks, I fucked everyone in the asshole because I just knew how it works. I knew how to abuse the vengeance. And you can like I don't perform my rotation the best, but if I know how things work, I will fuck everyone in the asshole.
I mean, ultimately, I feel like if
words to
there's
live
ever a
by.
time, if there's ever a time to be bad at your rotation but still perform great numbers, it is this expansion, because it is not just about getting, um, hitting your buttons correctly in a certain way. It's and having this type of perfect rotation and min maxi and all that. It's honestly just about how much vengeance can you get, and that requires encounter knowledge. It does not require knowing every global to the T.
I think
You remember
warrior.
we deep dive that early on. Sorry, I get Credi.
Oh, good. I think warrior is the best class for like theory crafting that on a discussion basis. Is that how I view it? Is that you ride the lightning, so to speak. You ride the lightning. You use the cooldowns to achieve the vengeance that you can maintain yourself. You tank enough mobs, and all of a sudden you don't need any cooldowns. You're just using the shield barrier, you're just cranking the damage onto the boss, and that's it. Ride the lightning and enjoy the outcome. That's it. Very simple. Just use your opportunities.
Yeah, like Emperor Shakespeare, I think, is a great example of that. Just the amount of incoming damage is absurd. It is insane when you're taking like 6 of the ads. You're like playing on the edge of a knife the entire time. It's like you are like that shield barrier is the difference between you instantly dying at any given moment and you just being immortal. And you just gotta make sure you keep pressing it. And it's a very fun way to play for sure, but it keeps you on your toes.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, I personally thought that Blizzard is smoking crack when they buffed shield barrier. What is your thought on that buff?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I played Prot and Brewmaster and MSV, and I was like, I mean, I like both of them. I feel good on both. I don't notice like a huge difference between the two. And then when I went into Heart of Fear, I played Prot Warrior at first clear. I think I ended up just playing Prot Warrior in there because of how good it felt on that first clear. And that's where it really shined for me when I got to see things like Wind Lord and then Shakespeare ad tanking. I was like, okay, this is what Prot Warrior is all about. And that was before the shield barrier buff, and I was like, okay, I'm getting like 1.6 million shield barriers when I press the button. This is insane. Like I've never played a tank like this before where I get 3 extra health bars of absorb by pressing button that's on 1.5 second cooldown. Obviously, you're rage limited, but 1.5 second cooldown. And in those situations, you have so many things attacking you. You spam revenge. You have guaranteed 20 rage every time you press a button, basically. I felt immortal. I've never felt like that on a tank before. And then I think it was like a week later, maybe a few days later, somebody links me this patch note. Shield Bearer got buffed. I had to like reread it. I was like, okay. Like when I first saw it, I was like, okay, Shield Bearer got nerfed. Okay, that's kind of fair. And then I read it again. I'm like, wait, it got buffed? Wait, what's going on here? They want me to hit 2 million on my Shield Bearer. Is that what we're going for here? We weren't doing good enough. We gotta get that a little bit higher.
2 million, you say? I'm pretty sure I hit over 3 million personally.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I mean, I think I was just vengeance capped the entire time. I don't know. Like,
well, I think if you time your last stand and running race properly, you're gonna get more vengeance.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Yeah. I gotta tech it even more, I guess, because I was feeling pretty immortal with those like almost 2 mil ones.
I think this tier is all about the snowball. Like you just gotta roll the snowball and trust that the snowball rolls. That's it. Like
Yeah.
that's just of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that ramp up period on Prot War when you're like low vengeance but taking a ton of damage and you're ramping into that super high vengeance. You just CD through that part, make sure you get to that high vengeance part, and then once you got that high vengeance, shield barrier, shield barrier, shield barrier, shield barrier, just over and over. Just absolute god. It's so fun to play.
Stone guards.
Yeah, stone guards. I was just gonna rewind our thing. We got all the way to Gara'jal again on the clip. So stone guards. I mean, I think the strat we're all doing obviously is stack it. This is the strat I've been kind of pushing, and I've never even done the fight not stacking it. Just I mean, pre-base gear, whatever. Like it just seems like the simplest way to do it. I mean, yeah, this fight's pretty simple, I think. The most annoying thing to me is the dogs, like, hitboxes. They're like those mobs in Old War that just are constantly trying to, like, move around. And that's probably the most annoying part. But, yeah, fun tank fight. I mean, you get to pump, especially if you're solo tanking it. Get tons of vengeance, get to pump, lots of cleave. You guys got any, like, tricks here? I mean, for me, it's basically stand still, pump a lot of damage. Move one time when the AoE is going out, then move back.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think there's some stuff to definitely think about here as a tank. I think especially when you go in early and you gathering up everything, like don't be too liberal with your offensive cooldowns, right? I mean, there's gonna be a lot of time where you until you get tiles, the damage buff from those, it's gonna take a lot of time to ramp up your vengeance. Your big vengeance spike doesn't really come until at least 1 minute into the fight where you have the big explosion. And so if you are like me, who just completely chokes and uses their dancing room weapon, I'm muted.
No, I'm hearing you.
Is that a stream thing, probably?
All right. Well, will someone take over for a while then? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of that, yeah, I did the exact same thing. It's one of those things that, like, in the race situation, you just start making these, little mistakes, and I mean, sometimes big ones too, but lots of little mistakes I find, for sure, compounding kind of, and yeah, just forgetting to use your cooldowns at the right time, so stuff like that. And like Riyani said, I mean, this is a really short fight. I think probably minute and a half, something like that, maybe up to 2 minutes, depending on your guild. But yeah, make sure you get that big vengeance spike and pump those cooldowns when you do. Very short fight, so you're not, I mean, really losing anything by saving them. Like you're not gonna get 2 presses of like a 3-minute cooldown, for example. So
Yeah, exception would be, I guess, DK with you know, 1.5 minute cooldown. That you will generally get to use if you use it very early. Of course, you have 1 minute cooldowns on like Arcing Lights or Lights Hammer on Pally, for example, which maybe you could hold a little bit, but Dancing Room Open, I think you should use fairly early on so that you can use it again
I
at the
mean,
end.
You gotta figure out your
to
kill
my
time for that, because for
to,
us, we would just not be able to do that
to my
in my
understanding,
guild.
Light's Hammer does not snapshot, right? I think it's proactive when it comes to the damage, so you can use it whenever, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, most things don't snapshot. Like even you were talking about army and ghoul and stuff like that as well. Like those things don't snapshot. They scale dynamically as well. So pretty much everything does work like that. But it takes so long for you to ramp up with the vengeance. Like even here, we're 40% of the HP, and you're still only at 80k vengeance. It's slowly ramping up. And if you do use too many of your offensive cooldowns early on, when you don't have vengeance and you don't have the tile buffs, I think you're even though you are getting vengeance during the duration of the hammer, it's probably still not ideal to throw it out too early.
I think this boss hurts a lot. Like, I think we were doing 2 and 2 per tank, and
Yeah.
obviously tanking it with 3 healers is a bit different, especially when we're also using the healers to paint. That's its own little danger, but I think even if you're doing this with 5 healers, you're a normal guild, it's gonna hurt, and you have to time your cooldowns well when the paint happens. And after that, you're gonna have a great result of, killing the boss, making it through. Also, want to point out that I think even when we're discussing vengeance and whoring, funneling throughout this podcast, whatever, right? Making it through surviving is very important when you're an average guy, average guild. You're just trying to kill the bosses, you're trying to have fun. Making it through is more important than showing your friends that you can rank these numbers, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. Like, just have fun with your friends. Like, even Stoneguard is a great example. If you're going through having the overloaded dog out, just have fun. Do it. If it feels comfortable, do it. Don't need to tank everything together. Just fucking do it.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I do. When it comes to the dog stacking in and out, I think on 25 man it's generally gonna be easier to just stack everything. But there is a real case in 10 man where even in a fairly good guild, you just don't have the check that you need to reach the kill times that you need to not have 2 explosions. So I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger issues to tackle, to face as a non-hardcore raider, is going through the first boss and actually figuring out how to do the swapping of the dogs, because honestly, stacking the bosses hell of a lot easier than actually playing the mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. With all this extra gear available too, obviously it lowers the barrier for entry too. Like now that we have Shot of Anger early, so people are able to get more PvP gear since it doesn't drop tier yet. People are able to get more of that 483 PvP gear. Galleon's out, people can get more 496 from that. Now that the raid's out, BOEs are cheaper. There's new BOEs available from the raid. And then, each raid you do, you're getting more gear. So if your guild maybe isn't able to do it week 1, I would think probably pretty quickly with the rate of acquisition on this gear, you should probably be able to do it very, very quickly if you're not already.
Celestials week 3.
I think one really key tip, as you know, mentioned, let's go through the bosses. One really key, I think one of the most important things when it comes to Stone Guards is that you have to realize that the warrior demoralizing banner stacks, you can use all of them at the same time, and it like all goes on top of each other. You can use all demoralizing banner on the explosion. If you have 5 warriors, you fucking blast them all. You're gonna take a lot of less damage. Not just one, use all of them, and you're gonna have a great end result.
Yeah, if you're just getting the one explosion, absolutely just throw everything on it. If you maybe are a little bit slower on the damage, you know, you will want to split it up, but like if you're gonna get 2 explosions, for example. But yeah.
And also, if you have 3 Guardian Druids, Bear Hug does stack too.
That is a really common comp, yeah. A lot of people are running that. Anything else on that one, guys?
I think that one is a very much like just a sug type of fight,
Yeah.
and I can't think of much else compared to just the stacking of the cooldowns, but also something that maybe we haven't mentioned too much as well is that before that moment where you bring everything, like you stack up and take all of the cooldowns, it's a good idea to do a little boss movement, right? You know, to get away from all the shit on the ground. It's also a good idea to know which boss is on power, because if you have the amethyst that's on power right now on the screen, you can stand in the puddles pretty safely. Especially if you're maybe like someone who enjoys to get a little bit of rage from, I don't know if it actually gives enough rage when it's petrified to make it worth it. If you're a warrior, you know, stance, dancing type of thing. But you know, now it's safe to actually play that mechanic and you just stand, or not play the mechanic and stand in the pool. I think more importantly, if it's the Cobalt one, you're very free to just run into those runes that we see getting avoided right now, or maybe not avoided because someone did die. Yeah, paying attention to which one is petrified, doing a little movement before you have your big stack, and knowing that you're going to get a hell of a lot of vengeance once the big explosion happens, and timing your cooldowns appropriately for that, while also making sure that you literally use all of your defensives and stack banners and bear hugs and everything like that. It will pretty much get you the end results. Mal mentioned as well clearing mines with immunities. I think that's a good thing as well to do if the Cobalt is not petrified.
I think this is something that you mentioned, Riyani, in your discussion. Stance dancing. This is something that worked on private server. This is something that worked in real MoP. It doesn't work in now. Like if you go into Berserker stance, yeah, you lose all your vengeance. So it's never worth it. So stance dancing is just you can't do it. Sadly, it removes a point of like skill cap from playing it. But yeah, like sadly you can't do it.
I was very excited to go into Berserker stance during execute and popping off, but I checked it out very early on the beta, and yeah, no vengeance while in Berserker stance. You lose it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate. All right, let's move on to Feng. So for
it's a very interesting tank fight.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. So I mean, we're not going to go over too much of the basics, but there's, you know, the reversal item in this fight that a tank can pick up, and then there's the barrier item that a tank can pick up. One just makes you take very little damage from AoE abilities, or, you know, within the circle. So you use it for AoE abilities. And the other one you use on somebody, and when they get hit by an ability, you get to copy that ability. So for like the standard one you're copying is just his basic like tank attack where it stacks a dot on the tank. You can use that on the boss, get a little extra damage. One that's been mentioned already was the lightning fist. So when he gets to the lightning area, he's gonna shoot out 3 little shockwaves of lightning. You'll generally have one of your ranged people go soak one. The way we did it was we barriered the first epicenter, his big AoE, and then on the second one, like coming out of that, he does like a lightning fist, and at that point we would have a ranged player go purposely stand in one of those shockwaves while the tank with the reversal used the active ability on that person. That then gives the tank the lightning fist, which stuns. So then on the next epicenter, when he casts that, you can just use that on him, stuns him, he stops casting it, and you don't need any CDs or anything. Just fizzles the cast. So that's kind of the biggest thing you can do with the reversal in that fight. But the barrier, you can use it. You can see the shield phase here. You can use on the shield the barrier. It'll destroy the shield. You don't have to play the ads for that part. But and then for the fire phase, he's gonna drop fire on the ground. When he casts, I think it's drop flame, he brings all the fires to him. You just make sure you're between Feng and the fires. You drop the barrier, and it catches all the fires. Feng doesn't get them. You guys got any like specific tech for this?
I think the biggest thing is if you're the reversal tank is just to spam that reversal on the tank for the dot applications. If you're looking at the details, you might see that Credi is pumping the meters, and it's not because he's not good. He knows how to play the game. But the reason why he is topping the meters is because he is reversing the dots that the other tank is getting while he is tanking, and that's doing a big amount of of his damage. And it's way more than you think. It's way more than you think. So be very active in using the reversal, even when you don't need it to stun in the other phases. Just keep using it. The boss does hurt. Honestly, he does have kind of big hands. He does give you a little slap on the cheek. So don't be caught off guard without your active mitigation rolling when you're fighting it. If you want to have a little bit of fun, if you want to do a bit of vengeance stuff, I think you probably did this, Cal. That's just my without watching the VOD, I'm gonna assume that you did this. Is having the tanks taunt one stack off another to build up stacks simultaneously on the tanks in order to get more vengeance on both of the tanks, and you maximize your vengeance gain that way.
Yeah,
I want to see whether you did it or not. So I'm not cooked.
One thing to remember on the boss is that he does go taunt immune after 6 charges, similar to Thorum or other bosses in the past. It's the only one that actually matters. So don't be taunting, back and forth, and then when you actually need it, not have the ability to. It's like the biggest thing that hurt us early on beta.
Yeah.
This taunt immune thing actually we ran into at the end of the fight. Like, I'm taunting the boss, and all of a sudden I'm like, I told my co-tank that it's taunt immune. And I have vigilance running, so I can taunt on CD. I'm like taunt.
Yeah, that's actually like a bad thing.
Yeah. And it's just not running out. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be soon. And he tanks a third stack. Thank fuck he didn't die. Like, already, as I thought at the start of this discussion, I fucked really badly at Feng. So
yeah,
at this point I am bad in my head, and I think I'm the worst player in the world. I'm telling him I'm going to taunt soon, don't worry. And in my head I'm telling myself that this will be all right. He tanks the third stack. Thank God he survives it, and everything goes on. But yeah, like on this boss, the actual taunt immune, like you said, Cal, it is really important. I think this boss in the raid is the most important when it comes to taunt swaps, and you really have to keep in mind when it comes to the taunt immune mechanic as like your average guild. This is really important.
Yeah.
You should
I
be
actually
tracking it.
had to rewrite a WeakAuras for it. I made it. It does work. because like I said, we ran into it a lot. And having tested all of tier 14, he's the only boss. Like, why this one? Why cuck us on this one? But anyway, yeah. Definitely don't taunt immune yourself. That's the biggest thing. If you're trying to manipulate vengeance, there are many ways to do it. We just had my off tank. He was reversal, I was barrier. He let me take a lot of dot stacks. He would apply the dots to the boss, and then we would do the taunts to where he could also get vengeance, apply the dot, and not immune the boss all at once. There's the draw flame you mentioned, Subtle, and you can just what we did in our guild because we have so many Death Knights, they like that for AMS, runic power building, because that's back. So what we discovered is if you timing the shield, the barrier at the right time, it's really easy to just instantly, extinguish the fires or whatever. They just come to your shield, nobody takes damage, and you have that nice little stack for people to use for their AMS runic power gain.
Okay, interesting. It's a good idea.
You wanna hear more?
On the topic of like the taunt immunity, I'm blanking right now. Can't you just drop Mocking Banner and fixate it on you until your taunt immunity's over? Like if you run into a situation as a prower where boss is taunt immune, but you need to take the boss, I'm pretty sure you can just drop Mocking Banner on him. I could be wrong.
Have you tried?
I haven't ran into the taunt immunity yet, so I haven't. But
Oh, well, we haven't tried.
I'm recalling Challenging Shout and Mockingblow worked like that on Putrescent. I think that's the last time I ran into like taunt immunity issues we had to play around.
No.
Like I said,
no.
I am the wrong person to ask when it comes to any practical stuff. I just YOLO it. I play how I feel. Like I haven't tested the science. I play for fun. I cannot answer this question.
Child Shout doesn't work because it's a taunt, but so if what I'm asking is if you've ever tried it at any raid boss, then you would know, Subtle. We could play off of whatever you try, whatever boss you ever used it on, and use that as a baseline to understand the mechanic. When you use it, have you used it in raid at all on any boss? Mocking Banner?
I'm not sure if I've used it on a boss. I've definitely used it on Trash a ton, but
Mocking Banner?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to see how the interaction is on a boss. It's usually different than little mobs.
Yeah.
Elegon.
Elegon, yeah, there you go.
Check the Elegon logs, bros. Look at the Elegon world ranks.
But the question is, so did the boss turn to you because of threat or because of Mocking Banner at the same time as the little ads?
Now
that's the only question.
We can actually fact check this if we look at Subtle's Twitch stream. If he looks at the Elegon VOD, I have the VOD link to him. I placed Mocking Banner. He can look at if Mocking Banner affected the boss. We can fact check this right now on live.
You used it when you had all the ads, right?
Though, we'll see.
Let's see.
It would have been right here.
I mean, I generally taunted the boss before the whole sequence started, but yeah, it is an interesting question if the Mocking Banner itself affects the boss. I remember yelling to a raid member that was like outside of the Mocking Banner's range to come closer. Yeah, you could clearly see in the, because I have highlighted debuffs that if the Mocking Banner itself affects the boss.
Because if it works like Challenging Shout wasn't actually a taunt, it was a fixate. So, like, for the duration of it, the mob would attack you. But if you didn't, surpass the people that actually had threat, it would just go back on them after.
Yeah, so it doesn't snapshot the threat when the taunt happens, but it just makes it fixate to you during the debuff. Yeah.
It does have the debuff, but whether or not it's getting taunted, that's pretty hard to tell with
we'll have to test it. We'll test it next one.
Considering the banner worked for so long, and during the banner you get so much vengeance, I don't think it's a relevant question if it impacts after the whole banner is over.
If you look at your threat, you had, 90% lead on the next guy because of all the vengeance anyway.
I'm not sure if that's just the threat meter fucking up, because I was by far the highest damage on the boss itself. I'm not sure if that's real.
It is. The tiny threat is actually a good way to gauge it, but yeah, we'll have to test it out and see the Mocking Banner tech.
I'm pretty sure I did 10 million more damage to the boss than the next guy. I'm not sure if that's actually real numbers. It's a good point to talk about, but I'm not sure what's the real discussion of this. because the damage number did not account to the actual ads. It's just talking about the boss.
Yeah. I mean, something to test out. See if that's a play. We'll check that out next week, or maybe somebody who goes into MSV on Broadway before me can look at it.
I think it's crazy. Like the log has been public for a while, and no one has outdone me. I don't think I played well, but not even a DPS player has outcranked me. I don't know why. I think it's wild. I don't think I played well.
You pumped.
Well, I think
I
you
did,
did
yeah.
the right strategy. We use the same thing. You give the I mean, I can just explain it to you if you don't know, but what you did is you get the highest vengeance possible, which leads to very high damage. But because the boss is actually taking extra damage and you have a very long execute phase, usually full CDs, everything as well, you actually benefit from all worlds, and that's why Prot Warrior is the best candidate to get the ads onto you at the end there. You could argue that maybe Brewmaster is the same because the Tiger, the Zuen, is so long and it works in a similar way to Army, where it just pumps a lot of damage. But you have a whole big session, very long session of having the boss take more damage. You have your highest damage CD at your side, but Warrior with Execute is just crazy. So
I think Brewmaster is great. Like, nothing to discourage Brewmaster players. Also think that when you compare Brewmaster versus Prot Warrior, you're gonna look at similar numbers. Like I said at the start of this discussion, I think the only difference that Prot Warrior and Brewmaster has is that Prot Warrior funnels more into one target, and Brewmaster does more into more targets. Like, that's the only difference. So if you're looking at bosses like Elegon, of course you're gonna think about who does more into that, who can funnel more into one target. So Prot Warrior will shine more on that. But by no means Brewmaster is a bad tank. Absolutely. Play Brewmaster if you want to play Brewmaster.
All right. Let's look at the Gara'jal trash. I think that's at least a little bit interesting. Definitely a couple ways you can go about it. In our run, we never had like a super clean just pull everything. So on race we just made it 2 packs. But I like what you guys did here. The shroud and just go in on the yags, everything. That was sick. And then pull everything together. We were actually going down there, but I assume you guys had horn. You probably used horn here. Is that true? To pull those bottom ones?
Battlehorn? No. Like,
No.
I
Does
think
it
our
not?
of
Does it not work in raid? I don't actually know. I haven't gotten it yet.
I have to say honestly, we did not test it.
Okay.
Our off tank just did a brilliant job at
Okay.
pulling those really fast.
Gotcha.
My job is to use Lancer boots, go down to the middle platform, use taunt banner, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just singing payphone and enjoying life, getting world first. That's it. My team is doing the job for me, and that was the summary of this whole race that I can continue forward.
Yeah, I like where you guys tanked it there, because we were actually just going down to the bottom, but it makes way more sense to bring everything up here, because you need to kill the guys in the air anyway. We had like range tank behind to kill them, but I like this positioning way more.
I think I'll return to this discussion that we talked with Riyani on the Stonecard Trash, that it was Stonecard Trash, and this one didn't feel like a trouble at all on PTR, and I died on Stonecard Trash, and this one, it was like I got completely fucked in the asshole. Like I have no clue. Like on PTR, it was no problem whatsoever. Completely chilling. I'm at a payphone trying to call home. Like pressing shield barrier, pressing shield block, nothing. I'm enjoying my life. I'm having good vibes, and I'm dead. Never happened on PTR. Not even close.
Yeah, it was quick.
And this was this was very continuous throughout the whole race. That trash really hurt. I don't know if they changed something or was it psychological. I would really have to deep dive, into that. But yeah.
Yeah, on that specific pull, was it possibly a smoke bomb issue? Because there's like, at one point you have like 6 smoke bombs on you. So if like one of your healers is not in all 6 of those, they can't heal you.
Generally, it did not matter. I usually tank those smoke bombs and just shield barriered.
Okay.
But it just felt like from the start, everything just did more damage to me. I don't know why.
Okay. Were you in defensive stance?
Yeah, I never swap out of defensive stance. Like, I have to say, I'm not, like I said at the start, I'm a fields crafter. I never min-max these things.
For sure,
I don't
for sure.
stance for anything. So this would not be a topic of discussion for me, at least.
Yeah,
Could you
just
explain
joking.
a little
just
bit
joking.
the reason for moving the boss out here to the side? We do something. We do a similar way, but I know some people have been asking about it. Just explain the reasoning.
I don't think there's much magic to it. We just decided on a spot. Hunters placed a trap and we moved to it. That's it. Move to it slowly. Damage don't, like the melee don't lose any damage, and that's it. Like, there is no magic answer to this. Like, I don't think there is much to discuss on this. Like, raid leader goes to this spot, hunters trap on this spot, and that's it. Like, actually, one thing now that you talk about this comes to my mind is that the totems on this fight actually goes on the inner area of this fight. So if you tank it on the outer side, the totems never come on the raid when you're on the outer realm. So if you tank it on the outer side, yeah, that is a relevant discussion. I forgot about that one. Yeah, like, so if you tank it on the outer spot from the get-go, when you're tanking it on the raid, you'll never get spotted by the totems. They only go on the, spawn spot, minus 30 yards, whatever, right? And that's it. If you tank it on the outer, you're chilling.
Yeah. I also, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but now that the footage is on the screen, I was wondering about your approach with dealing with the spirit realm. Normally, a normal guild would just go ahead and send some DPS down, a healer down, so they can heal up the DPS while helping out with killing the small shadowy minions and also the severed souls, so that they can help out the tank to come to get out of the spirit realm without dying. You do not seem to do that. You seem to just get kill as many of the shadow minions as possible before you end up dying and then getting a combat rest or a soul stone in this case. Did you ever end up having people go down at any point, or is it just a suck fest?
No, so I think our guild, as I praised our leadership before, the pre-work for the raid was brilliant. When we went to this boss on PTR, everything was very clear. Like, we're gonna min-max this as much as possible. When the tank goes down, we're trying to utilize the combat rest mechanic of the expansion as much as possible. So, like, assume that no one will die. If you have a person die, like as on this fight, you could assume so, like the tank does. Don't send anyone down. Just raise the tank and nuke the boss. Healers will heal as much as they can, and that's it. Trying to minimize the damage as much as possible. I have to say, it wasn't a point of discussion that I thought about, but I appreciate you guys bringing it up because I think it's very relevant when it comes to this race. And also this like position of the boss, I didn't think of it. Like, it's just out of my mind. I didn't think about it. It's a really relevant point that, yeah, like the totems don't go there. You can rest the tank, don't go there. When the second tank goes down, then we send the DPS, because then it starts to get out of hand slowly, and that's about it.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's probably a strat. A lot of people will move towards, as the phase goes on to probably, not sending any DPS down, I'm sure, by the end of MSV once we're all really geared. As far as like Gara'jal tanking, I mean, probably is kind of nice for it because you have shield block up, you do less damage to the voodoo doll people, especially at the end, but it's also, I think, not that big of a deal.
Also, Gara'jal is a great boss because it just when it gets enraged, it hits you faster, and getting hit faster is always a bonus when it comes to Prot Warrior. Like the faster you get hit, the happier you are. That's like just of it.
Prot Warrior life.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, so one thing to know as tanks as well is that, obviously it takes a while, but then, a few seconds, but then you get fixated. And you have that fixated until you go down to the Shadow Realm. At least that's how it's supposed to work, right? That's how it's supposed to work. But if you have threat and if you're fighting and the other tank that is just normally just attacking, from behind, doing what they can to do damage, they're not getting any vengeance this fight. However, unless you're a Brewmaster, for whatever reason it doesn't work for a Brewmaster, but you can taunt the boss while the fixate is active. The boss doesn't go on you, but you get 50% of the vengeance from the current tank. It's also kind of important to note that you want the vengeance buff to fade before you taunt again, because if you taunt and you have more than half of the vengeance of the current tank, then you won't actually get a new refresh of the vengeance. So you end up losing out of the entire duration of your cooldown on taunt of vengeance if you don't wait for the vengeance actually lapse before you taunt again. Maybe a little bit of a minor thing, but it's I think it's important to
It's not minor.
note.
It's 50,000 attack power on average in the first phase, and then in the second phase, it's even better.
I think
You see, he has the vengeance bars tracked under his nameplate, or his uniframe, and you can just see them periodically going up. It does help damage.
I think
100%.
Gara'jal is a great boss for like just upcoming tanks that play MoP and haven't played Vengeance as a mechanic before, like just to like learn how the mechanic works. Because first of all, the boss, okay, if you taunt within 2 seconds, it will actually change the target. But when the boss is fixated on the first tank, when you taunt, it won't actually change target. It will just fixate on the player until the actual banishment happens. Experiment on the 50% taunt mechanic. When you taunt from your main tank, you get 50% of their vengeance. And I think this is a really great boss to experiment on that. You taunt from your main tank, you get 50% of their vengeance, and you can play with it as much as you want. You can do damage, whatever you want. Prepare for your upcoming taunt turn. You're not going to taunt. I mean, not taunt, rather, you're not going to tank. You're just going to get their vengeance. That's it. Because it's going to be fixated. That's it. So you can taunt every 20 seconds and get free attack power. So it's a great avenue to learn from upcoming fights. What you're going to have to do to meet DPS checks, or rather survival checks, if your class needs vengeance to survive. So I think this is a really good boss for that because it doesn't have many mechanics. It's really easy to tank, but it has this mechanic of the vengeance where you can just press taunt, nothing happens, you get free attack power. That's it. You can play with it, and it's really easy to learn on.
It's also a great thing to install the WeakAuras that Cal made that you are currently displaying here on the screen as well, because then you can see, then you can shout at your co-tank in a race environment that you haven't gotten any vengeance now for 7+ seconds. What the hell are you doing? Taunt the boss, goddammit.
I think this is one of the greatest things that I could do in the race because my co-tank was the raid leader. And we agreed before the race that, okay, he's going to be like raid leading. I need to tell him to taunt sometimes. He's not going to be paying attention to it. Like, and then I did tell him, okay, taunt now. I will be taunting. It's great. And obviously it reflects in his performance because he was raid leading. He's not going to be the most 99 percentile of tank, But when I tell him to taunt, he will taunt. And that's it. It's enough. It's going to be great. And I really like the dynamic that we had.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can play at 100% while also raid leading, so That's definitely super helpful. Anything else there? I think we covered it pretty good.
Yeah, there
I
was a
think
bug we talked about earlier. You want to
I
go?
think
Oh,
Gara'jal.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. You want to talk about that? Your experience with that? I haven't actually seen that one myself.
Yeah, there are short gaps on multiple logs. Happened to me. What happens is the main tank, loses his doll, aka fixate buff. So then if you taunt and he's not fixated, the boss will turn to you and you will be main tanking him by threat, regardless of the fixate debuff. And then when the fixate comes back to that tank, he still doesn't get it. So what we had in split 2 is I was Brewmaster and Kronk was on Warrior, and he's calling all of the CDs to him, but actually the boss just continues to attack me because I taunted at the exact moment that he lost the buff for a second. And I can send you the link if you want, Subtle, to
Yeah,
check it
sure.
out. 1 second, I'll send it over.
My OBS is actually freaking out when I try to play Twitch. Like
Oh,
open
no,
a
no,
Twitch
it's a
window.
log. You can
Oh,
just
oh, just
straight
a
up
log? Okay.
see the timeline, how there's like a very, very, very small window where it drops the main tank's doll debuff, and I could also pull up that I taunted there, but you'll have to just believe me or watch the VOD.
I
But
believe you.
anyway,
I
yeah.
believe you.
And then he calls all the CDs on him, and it goes to me, and I'm like, oh well, I'm just Brewmaster, right? I'll just parry dodge, all good. But just be aware of that as well. I don't think Faji is tracking off tank, and that's what the pack most people use nowadays. Maybe Murphin. So I don't think he actually tracks fixate on co-tank and such.
No, but
I
this is
think
great information because that means that I'm gonna be starting
Yeah.
on the boss. I'm gonna have the other person taunt so they can go down in the
Well,
banishment, and then I'll continue with the rest of the fight. Okay, that's good.
there may or
uh,
may not be a fixate WeakAura made by Cal Classic here in a minute and
I think
shared with everybody.
when it comes to
Hmm.
4G WeakAuras, it's something that we never encountered. We never had this bug. So I think how
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, like I think how you said it, like at the very start of the thing, like you, Riyani, both of you had like insane bugs in the launch, and I'm pretty sad because I think everyone should have a fair ground when it comes to racing, and it's so fucked up. I really hate it. But what Riyani had, we had on beta. But what you had, Cal, like I never saw. Like that's crazy. Like never saw. So I think that's something that 4G never accounted for his weak auras. So it's obviously something that should be accounted for.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll fix it. Blizzard won't fix it, so we will fix it.
Gotta take matters into our own hands. All right. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, I think the last thing to note as well on that fight is that at 20%, sub 20%, it does go into an enrage, and for some classes it's great. Like if you're a prop pally, you get more resets on your Avenger shield, and if you're a warrior, you get more revenge procs, and it's a good time. Not everyone is gonna have such a good a time and might want to consider stacking your externals. Basically everything that you have left at that point, using all of your PSS, all of your vigilances, and just making sure that you survive, because it does do a fair bit of damage. And if you just leave that phase unmitigated, you can die, but so can also the people that you're connected to through the totems, right? The voodoo doll link, and it's not a great time always, seeing just your healer just insta die because you didn't have any active mitigation rolling, or didn't mitigate that phase well.
I think when it comes to Gara'jal, one quick thing to add as a tip for just your average guy is that the special attack that happens, it reflects the damage regardless of absorb. So you actually have to reduce the damage for the special attack to reduce the damage for the dull people. So if you have shield barrier, for example, as a Prot warrior, it will still do 100% of the damage to your reflect people. So you actually have to always prioritize the shield block and damage reduce for that. So even if you're shielded by guard on Brewmaster, you're shielded by a Disc Priest, it won't reduce the damage for the special attack. For some reason, that does not reflect to the people that are reflected. You actually have to reduce the damage for that ability.
Yep.
All right.
Good time to be a bloody king.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Spirit Kings. Unless you guys got some tech on trash, I don't think there's much here for Spirit Kings trash.
AoE
It's a
grip.
bit of a snooze
This
fest.
pack you're on right here. This
Oh,
exact
that
pack
one
you
in
can AoE
specific
grip
can be
again.
AoE gripped?
And I believe the last one as well, but I don't remember.
Okay.
People in my raid said they could, but I don't remember.
I know it can be stunned though.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too interesting here.
All right. Yeah, on to Spirit Kings.
Wait. What did he just
Oh.
enchant his boots with? What happened?
Oh.
Oh, we got an upgrade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got a
like,
few upgrades. He was putting them all together during this trash.
All throughout the race, I was like putting on gear. Like as I said before, like when you're actually playing in the race, everything is just going through your head or whatever, right? I even equipped the thermal anvil before that second last trash pack and put on the blacksmithing.
Yeah, the socket.
Like yeah, exactly. I did it before the trash pack active and whatever, right? Like it's just all going through your head. It's not perfect. But I ended up doing it all quite well. I got pretty good gear in the race. I got the boots from Gara'jal, I think, that I put Pandora and Step on and Socket.
I also saw that you got a little bit of Shaw boots going on. How did that happen before they came out?
Yeah, so the world boss is released. When the world boss is released, also the raid released. So progress went into the raid. Numen went to kill Shaw, and then not that bad went to kill Galleon and Shaw. And we were talking before the race that okay, are we gonna equip the gear or not? First, it was said that okay, let's not equip the gear for the like clarity of the race. And like I don't know, 15 minutes before the race, it was said that Warcraft Logs decided that you're gonna be fine to equip the gear, so we equipped it. So I mean, for Prot Warrior, since you're so dependent on secondary stats, just like the using or not using the gear was whatever compared to the blue previous boots that even your Riyani had on your Wowhead pre-raid build list. It's like very minor, doesn't matter. But yeah, like we decided to equip them after we got clarity from Warcraft Logs, and that's it. I think that's the biggest difference because a lot of the progress people said like, yeah, you went to clear the world bosses. We didn't. We cleared the raid. Like, yeah, sure, we cleared the world bosses, but we at least have the choice to either equip the gear or not equip the gear, depending on what Warcraft Logs decided. So let's say, I think 45 minutes before the race, we had an announcement in the Numen Discord that please don't use the world boss gear. And I was like, okay, I won't use it. And then 15 minutes before, there was a discussion in the like internal channel of Warcraft Logs that okay, it is gonna be fine. Then we use the world boss gear.
Okay. Nice. So for Spirit Kings, kind of the main thing, try to tank the bosses in the middle because you have this flanking orders that's constantly coming out. You don't want to be on the edge. Flanking orders spawns on you, kills people right away. Outside of that, this fight, I mean, is basically make sure you don't attack the shields. That's what a lot of it boils down to.
That's what wiped us.
Yeah, the Shadow boss in particular is gonna be wiping a lot of guilds. We wiped on that too. Basically puts the shield up, it needs to be dispelled. There's lots of stacks of it, needs to be dispelled very quickly. And anybody who attacks it, it does a big explosion and will likely wipe you. So, do you guys have any?
Start with the first boss.
Yeah, sure.
I think so. The way that this fight works is that you have 4 different Spirit Kings, and on heroic, Then you will fight one boss first, and then once that boss reaches 30%, right? I'm not cooked, right?
30, yes.
Yes. Then the next one
Let's see your
comes,
hoop.
and then you should focus down obviously the low one, so you can then turn your attention to the full HP one, and then once that one reaches 30%, then the next one, etc. etc. So you will have these small overlaps where you're fighting both of them at the same time, but generally it's boss by boss. So the first boss is this boss that has a cleave type of mechanic that is split among everyone that's standing in front of the boss. This kind of is a little bit finicky on live. I've felt like that sometimes it just starts doing the frontal really early. So actually stacking up and pulling the boss into the stack group is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
It's happened pretty frequently that a warrior has charged in, and then they've gotten one shot by it, and it's not what you want to have happen. And then he will do an annihilate. What Numen does is having the tank turn the boss away and have the annihilate away from the group while everyone else can just stay still and do their casts. Most guilds will probably opt to just walk through the boss and walk away from the annihilate. It is important to note, or not important, but it is a good thing to note that the tank can certainly survive that annihilates if they're played properly, if they use their cooldowns properly. And when they do get hit, it does grant around 100k vengeance. And especially since you have loss rolling and everything at this point, if you are like Numen, we don't loss there because we're not as good as Numen. But if you do have lost at that point, then it is definitely a big DPS upgrade. And even if just one of the tanks soaks, like let's say a Brewmaster with Sun Meditation, and all defensive cooldowns, then the other tank can taunt the boss to get 50% of that vengeance. So that's a little bit of a especially now going into reclears and stuff like that. It's a big chance that you will be playing around vengeance in that way with the annihilate as well.
Yep, definitely.
I think this boss particular were a big topic of discussion when it comes to the utilization of cooldowns. When it comes to vengeance choosing, there was an avenue to choose vengeance at the very pull, using shield walls, icebound fortitude. Okay, I can't speak for the DK. Again, he was raid leading, so like you can't expect perfect tanking cheese vengeance from him when he's raid leading. He's raid leading. His main focus is that. But for me, I was mainly responsible when it comes to tank, utilization of mechanics. I said I think it's more worth if we just wait. When the overlap comes, I use my cooldowns to use execute instead of shield block, shield barrier. I use my cooldowns. I shield wall. I crank high vengeance executes into the first boss, and we finished fast to avoid the overlaps, and it was really good. Like you get high vengeance. I even over aggroed the boss because of how much damage I'm doing. It was like planned. I knew that I would over aggro it. It happened many times during the PTR. I even call it on the VOD. And it's really nice. Like the more you avoid the overlaps, the less dangerous the boss is. Like and that's just of it when it comes to utilization of the cooldowns on pull. I think if you go for high vengeance on the pull, I think it's overrated. Like you don't really need it. You should really go for whatever you need to survive for the overlap. The overlaps are the dangerous part, and that's it. I think that's my thought on it.
I agree. It's mostly when we're talking now about especially reclears, where I think people will be having a little bit of fun with it. I think maybe a thing like a Brewmaster Monk would be the exception, because you don't really use Sun Meditation to survive a overlap like that. So if it's a mechanic or if it's a cooldown where that's specific to to just being a soaking device, then that's certainly fine to do. I wonder if I haven't tested it because I haven't been in this raid on Prot Pally, but like a Ardent Defender or something like that. I wonder how that interaction is.
Just
If
like
you
you
can
would
just
get Purgatory, it should work. It'll just take the buff off of you, and you'll cheat death for 1.
seems like a pretty good value.
Yeah. Also, if you're ganking on spawn, so if the boss spawns and you're right there, right then, you will actually cast. Usually, it's 2 massive attacks into an annihilate, but if you're ganking it, he usually will do 3 massive attacks. It's also something to account for. So it's you basically have to overlap CDs to make sure you survive the last one as well, because it takes a little more than 12 seconds, I believe, for all 3 attacks.
Okay.
Definitely worth it if you know what you're doing. Very much worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of vengeance to be gained. But I would just stick to the basics if you're progging this fight. Save it for reclear
Agreed.
kind of thing.
And then when you get the next boss, it's the let's say an archer. What is it called? Subutai, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's very important to get that boss to the middle right away. It's not only for the reasons that we talked about earlier with the wall of a flanking order, but also he has both of his mechanics, or 2 of his main mechanics really are value you being able to spread around the boss. One is the one that we just saw, which is volley. That picks a specific part of the room and starts shooting out a volley towards that region, and you just need to move out of it. The second one is pinning arrow, and it targets one individual range member. And if you are stacked next to that targeted person, you get pinned as well. So it really values being spread out. It's really valuable to have a paladin in your group on this boss, because the arrows are broken by BOP. Similarly, like we just saw as well, is that a priest is really valuable as well, for many reasons, but particularly because you can life grip the person that's in a bad spot. You might not always want to just grip it in right away to do damage on it. I think that's fine. If you trust your DPS to actually swap to the arrow, then that's a good way to do it. But you can also just save the pinned person from either a volley or a flanking strike if they're in a bad position when they are far out.
I think this was the arrow was a big point why we ran the Red Paladin. Apart from the fact that Malvanis absolutely cranked on the Red Paladin, like big props to him. Like Malvanis didn't do a single minute of BTR on the Red Paladin. He did phenomenal DPS on it. Like big props for him, because Red Paladin was buffed after the second round of MSV PTR. Like he just went in there raw dogging it. He just went in there, owned it, did more damage than a single hunter in our raid, for example. But yet the value of the buffs on Spirit Kings, for example, was great. He buffed the first round, he buffed the third round. It's a massive DPS gain. It's a massive safety precaution when it comes to the race. It's not just pure numbers. Like in the race, safety matters. And like he was a very valuable member to the raid. Awesome damage, awesome utility from the Red Paladin. Using a Red Paladin for that boss, if you're a random guild, just going for it, use a Red Paladin. I highly recommend it. Use Clemency, go for it.
Not to mention, of course, the Red Paladin with the double sack if they remember to use it.
Yes. Very, very nice. I just want to mention Malvanis is in chat right now. He said, "Bro, I did 0 damage carried by Star Shatter," laughing my ass off. But
he's humble.
He's a humble guy, yeah. Just like Credi.
Definitely not
though. Yeah. So Let's see. We I think we pretty much covered Sebutai. Main thing on his shield, you're gonna stun it. It's sleight of hand. You get a debuff. I honestly can't even remember what it does. I haven't read it in so long. It's like reduces your armor, make
reduced
you
damage and
take more
healing.
damage, reduces your damage. Yeah. Basically you don't want to hit them. Like all of these. Don't hit them when they have their shield up. That's it. But he is stunnable during that, so you're gonna coordinate stuns, and ideally he'll never be unstunned while he has it up, but keep an eye on that because it could get messed up. It happens.
Yeah.
So generally you're gonna get kidney shot pretty early. That one should, that one's gonna be safe for a long time. Be very careful on that overlap part where you're going like from, the kidney shot or the fist of justice into whatever your next overlap stun is. Because that's usually where the mistakes are gonna happen. It's like either the stun came a little too late and there's a little gap where you could get hit, or the stun came a little too early and there's going to be a gap at the end. There might be like 0.5 seconds of a sleight of hand where it's not stunned and you can get hit by it. But while he is stunned, you can safely attack him. You aren't going to get that debuff. So anytime you see the stun up, really good to have, plate or whatever, so you can see those debuffs easily on the boss. And you can see that stun right next to that sleight of hand timer, and see that you're good to go. I think Foji has something for it too.
Yeah, shameless advertisement. Fojipack has included stun rotation in that, rather rotation, but like if it's impacted by a stun. For example, we had Rogue into Red Bala. Like it's included in it. I can see it. I can like hit my abilities into the boss. I can see it like no problem.
We didn't mention though that it's also the stun DRs just like it would any other time in WoW.
Yes.
Diminishing returns. So you have to not use your little stuns accidentally. People were saying charge stun doesn't do it, but intercept does. Some other, I don't know if it was pets, but a lot of the classes that can DR it will accidentally do it, and then you have your Fist of Justice, and then it's just not gonna last.
Malv says, Fist of Fury, worst offender.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
watch
we
out for
definitely
that
had
one.
that too.
I have to give obviously I've had some leaks from the progress players. I have to number one shout out to Church Vibes, Feast of Fury, Shield of Darkness. Have a good one, bro.
Jesus, what? Fist of Fury and the Shield of Darkness? Oh my god.
Yeah, bro.
That's a good way to go out. So
We'll get to it soon, right?
yes,
Next
yeah,
mob.
yeah. I think we're pretty much covered on Sebutai, right? He does melee pretty hard. That's one thing to keep in mind. Just be aware of his damage output while you're tanking him.
Yeah, and it's also not long enough between the stuns for like 45-second and 1 minute stuns to be available for all of them. So if you obviously have a combat rogue or any rogue for that matter, but especially combat because they can extend their stun with kidney. But a paladin, once again, with Fist of Justice, it's very good because they can always stun, so you always have the same person doing it every time. And then as well, asphyxiates to some extent for DKs.
It's great. That's a great one because it's 30 seconds, and I was able to cover every single one when we were running me as the backup.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. It's a good one, but if you have the other options, I would prefer that because of they don't really lose anything for. Well, I guess a rogue would lose their combat points, right, and lose a little bit of damage, but I mean that's fine. Who cares about rogue damage anyway? But a DK would have to go out of their movement speed, which is maybe not ideal, but they can certainly be good for covering that stun, especially
I think
if
it's
you
just
are.
underlooked. So it's not just a BDK, right? Because we are BDKs, you and I, and that's really easy. But it's overlooked because if you bring any DK, any of them can do that. They just opt not to tell you that they could. So
Exactly.
it is a good
That's very true.
option. Keep it in mind,
Yeah, definitely.
DPS players.
Yeah, so the shadow guy, he's I mean, big mechanic is the Shield of Darkness. When this goes
That's the
up,
raid wiper.
yes, this is the thing like 90% of your wipes are going to be too, probably, is somebody hits the shield, blows up, kills everybody. There are so many fun ways to die to this. Some that come to mind that we found, Chi Wave. A Chi Wave pressed long before the shield cast, just slowly bouncing around, you know? And then right when the shield goes up, oh, that last Chi Wave goes right to the boss, blows up. So
We had a She-Wave accident in our run. I don't think anyone died.
wow.
Maybe someone died.
Okay. Did you like
But we did
pre-CD
pop
it?
one, but survived.
Did you
We
like?
always pre-CD
Okay.
because we know people are gonna pop it.
Yeah. 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 So that's another good comm too. Is like pre-drop, like, you know, demo banner, a rallying cry kind of thing, like before shields going out. Like, obviously try not to pop it, but this is one of those things. It's gonna happen. There's so many ways to pop this thing without even thinking about it. And like in our specific run I mentioned earlier, a hunter glaive tossed an ad that was behind the boss, and on its way back, the shield went up, blew up. So yeah, just don't even look in the direction of that boss where he's got that shield up. You should, during the overlap, bring Sebutai like far away from him, or just bring the Shao boss far away from Sebutai, whichever. It's probably easier to bring the Shao boss away. So you can maintain, you know, volley and pin being easier to manage in the middle. But yeah, the other big mechanic there is going to be the ads. He's going to summon some ads. They're going to fixate random range players. It actually fixated me as a tank. I can't remember why. I think it was because a range player like died and then it like switched to me or something. So
yeah, or Feng does.
Something like that. Yeah. So keep in mind, like as a tank, you could potentially end up getting targeted by one, and at that point, you just gotta kind of move away because it does an explosion around it. It's gonna drop a puddle when it dies. And obviously the melee are all gonna be there. At that point, it would be good to do like a tank swap so that, you know, the off tank can just you know, run that thing around, and nobody has to move, just you as the tank. So that would be ideal.
Here you should definitely tank swap a lot though, because there's no AoE damage going around. I mean, not realistic, any realistic AoE damage at least. So assuming that you tank swap every 20 seconds, you will have pretty much full vengeance on both tanks for the entire duration, even when you're not tanking. So for those 20 seconds where you're not tanking, you will have pretty much full vengeance for pretty much all bosses in this. Well, the two bosses that are in the middle, so to speak, and then there are some other. On the last boss, you don't really get full vengeance when you're not tanking because you do have AoE damage that interrupts it and recalculates it. But yeah, definitely tank swap a lot on this boss.
Yep. Anything else for that one? We can talk about the last one.
Yeah, you can manipulate the mobs that spawn. You said if it fixates you, or even if it doesn't, and it's just like an unfortunate one, you could, I believe, knock it. You can grip it. You can mass grip into wherever you want it. You can help. The raid can help you out a little bit, or anybody for that matter.
Didn't know.
From a shadow guy.
Yeah, haven't done that myself. It's good comps. Yeah, so last guy, this guy basically has an insanity meter. It's gonna slowly go up. As it goes up, he does more damage, and then he'll switch over to his cowardice mode, where he just runs around aimlessly, basically, and you reflect damage you do back to yourself. So in this phase, if your HP gets low, like, you can just stop attacking to stop taking damage, basically.
I think a very easy tip for this phase is that you basically let every cast be interrupted when the tank is tanking, like letting be slapped. This includes into more vengeance tank gets hit more revenge procs. For example, if you're running a Prot warrior, a raid doesn't get much damage. You just have to heal the tank with more damage. When the cowardice happens and everything's being reflected, now you wanna let like the interrupt go through, so the reflect happens faster. Like that whole phase is faster than normal. You wanna get over it as quickly as possible, so you get to the tank getting more vengeance board again. That's very some of it.
Yeah. And I mean, you'll have 2 tanks at this point, 1 boss, and you can run all your CDs on one tank, swap to the other tank, run all your CDs on that tank. You got tons of externals. You got vigilance. You got SAC. You got PS. You can probably even take things like barrier, things like that. Big thing when the MC goes out, make sure you don't use things like blood boil that would spread all your diseases to your entire raid. Not only huge damage diseases, but puts weakened blows on everybody. As a pro warrior, don't thunderclap. Don't put weakened blows on the whole raid. Basically, try not to like debuff everybody. You just want to break people out without debuffing them, and you do have to be very careful as a tank. You very well could have very, very high vengeance, and you might just instantly kill people with things like Keg Smash at super high vengeance. So be careful breaking people out. You don't need to do too much damage to actually break those MCs. Big thing is that you don't apply dots to people, and you don't apply other debuffs to people during that time. Just try to get them out without that. You guys got anything else on Spirit Kings?
I think we covered it all. I think just like I can't stress enough how important it is, or how like good it is to always bring the boss into the middle again after you've dodged the flanking strike. How important it is to press escape and move out of melee range when the shields are up. I guess we didn't touch on the shield type of mechanic that the first boss has, but it will normally be master spell. But if you don't have a master spell for whatever reason, a shattering throw can also remove the bubble type effect. Yeah, this is a very much a control fight. Like even the interrupting at the end to get more damage amp in that during that phase, yes, certainly good. But it's very much just about surviving and having control of the fight if you're trying to get it down for the first time.
It just moved all our things around
musical
on my
chairs.
stream when he turned off his cam. Oh,
Yeah,
there,
I'm
it's
sorry.
back.
I had
It's
to.
back.
Yeah, I had to
Oh, no worries.
restart it. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. I was just checking to see if everything was still good on there, and I was now Riyani.
How did it feel?
I felt pretty good, honestly. I think I might try that again sometime.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right, so yeah, Spirit Kings, that's gonna be I think the biggest boss for people to prog this phase. Or this raid, rather. And then trash, you have quite a few options for the trash that comes next. The trash on the way to Elegon. In Numen's run, they tried to skip this with Shroud. Unfortunately, do you know exactly what happened? What happened in the back that pulled it?
The boots right there?
The pad just goes too close, I think. That's
No,
what it looks like.
He boots right there, right?
I think the Fieldscraft, like I said, I'm a Fieldscraft player. I think some DK just had their bet out, and that's it.
Yeah, Malv says DK Ghoul.
Yeah, like it's just so simple as that. And as I said, like in these race moments, like these things happen, and that's it. We fucking deal with it, and we go on, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a similar thing happen, but with the trash skip going into Will of the Emperor. Yeah, so then from there, I mean, you guys recover from that, just finish that trash, go into the next pull. Trying to see. You guys didn't pull these into the next pack, right? You just killed them separately? Or did you?
The wardens?
Let's see. I've found it finally. Maybe you did.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay,
no.
yeah. So you do
So
bring it
our
into the next one.
So I had some friends talk about it from progress, obviously,
Mhm.
because like it doesn't matter at this point. So they, leaked. They had some really nice. Trash tech that
Okay.
they skipped the trash with some like hunter deterrence and whatever, right? And they were like, yapping that we would win because of this trash skip or whatever. Like all credit to them. Like that trash tip was really nice. Like I watched it. It was innovative, really great. But I think it's a time save, but not as big of a time save as they deem it to be. The point is that in MoP you can't view trash as MoP skipped, time saved. You have to view it as how does a MoP give vengeance, and how does that vengeance time save on the trash that impacts the actual time saved. So the point was that I was doing 1 million damage, or rather 1 million DPS on the trash pool on PTR. Obviously, in the actual run, I will never say to the raid leader, no, let's not do this, because I think that's bad. Raid leader said that let's grip Credi in 2-1, let's grip Credi. They gripped me, and I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like I will never, go against that call, and that's why. But if I stayed within that pull for a longer time, I would have just fucking slapped that pull, be top damage to 1 million DPS. But I wanted to go by my radio's call. Maybe he has better information than me. Maybe he has someone from the guild keeping him up to date that okay, all the other guilds are far behind you. Let's play it safe. I would never go against that. But in hindsight, I would have loved to stay in that and do damage. But I have experience with this shit. I will never go against my raid leader's call. I will respect him to my fucking last breath. And this is the just of it. But if I could choose it myself, I would have clapped that back to the end of the back. That's it.
All right. Yeah, I was curious about that. That's good to know. So yeah, you have quite a bit of RP here. We actually had a lot of people die on that pull, but it was kind of salvaged by the fact that you just gotta sit here and wait for RP anyway. So for Elegon, I don't know if there's any like specific tech for the first part you had, but obviously we'll talk about the ad stuff you did later in the fight.
Yeah, I think the
I will. Before we get into that, I'm just gonna mention that there is, of course, if you want to be a little parsing tech, which you wouldn't do in a race because you're not gonna wait around for the tank to get stacks in the beginning. But if you do get into the ring before the fight starts, you still keep getting the damage stacks, and you can go into the fight taking 200, 300% more damage, and assuming that you survive it, you know then you basically don't tank in this fight at all. Like you basically don't tank the boss. He's just AFK the entire fight. So you can front load your externals like crazy, and just have absurd damage amp from the get go and get it to 85% quickly. And once you're at 85%, then it doesn't matter. You can reset if you want to. But yeah, you would definitely want to do that in a race environment.
I think we weren't really talking about like the very start of the fight because of the ads and the nature of how toolkit of Prot for you works, how you'll just funnel damage into the boss and semi cooldowns for that. Obviously, it's a very good point of discussion how you could utilize it a bit more on the start. By no means our like approach was perfect, but I think it's a very good one. Even further to add to this one, what you can do as a warrior, you can go to the very middle point of the boss, jump, and thunderclap when the sparks spawn and hit all of them. I was a little bit scared of that because if I did that and I one-shot them all, it could have one-shot the raid. I think I was our highest damage on the sparks by far in the whole raid. If I one-shot all 6 sparks at the same time, I had this gut feeling that I would have one-shot the raid, so I opted not to do that. So I only one-shot my side, which was the right side, which obviously helped the raid. But yeah, like the utilizing the Prot Warrior Vengeance for the sparks is insane. You can do wonders with that vengeance.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that in ours, and I will definitely be adding that. Very excited.
I'm thinking like, what's the best way to deal with the ads in the we see here that you have the cosmic sparks, right? And it's great that you can just place down a banner and have everything go on you. But I'm thinking, what's the best way for all the other, tanks that are clearly inferior to the Prot warrior?
I mean, I feel
Do
like
you want to reveal the list? I
what's
feel like
that?
we can. Every tank has something they can do. BDK is the worst one at it, I think, though.
Yeah, it's
Because you
probably
can,
true.
if the ads are in the middle, you can definitely arcing light it. So I mean, if you're really smart about your initial placement and you understand you want to gather as many as possible on you drop an arcing light in the center. It's going to dynamically increase its damage, and you're just going to overtake. Bloody K takes a while to ramp up because the diseases have to go on everything, and you have to have this. You have to actually snapshot it. It's not dynamic. And Brewmaster was extremely easy with just RJW. I was just running around the boss, 8 figures a little bit, and got all of them off of my tank, my BDK.
I mean, like I said before, I think the actual like DPS numbers when it comes to looking at your details at the end of a fight, Prot Warrior versus Brewmaster Monk, you're gonna look at same DPS numbers, but Prot Warrior just has more on the actual boss. And it requires a little bit more setuping because like the actual snap threat, rushing Jade Wound is so amazing. You can
I
just
misworded that. Friend. It was spinning crane kick because I went Zuen for actually doing single target to boss.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And I think when you're running Xuen, you're going to be looking at same kind of threat profile as a Prot Warrior is, where you'll have like Keck Smash versus Thunderclap. Like both of them, like you're going to be using at the same interval and a same kind of pickup threat. But still, like you don't have this steady pick of threat from your raid members doing some kind of like, okay, Destruction Warlock, Frost Mage, funnel AoE into the boss. So I think it's a very similar damage profile, but the thing is that Xuen does more AoE than Revenge. Revenge, just you can funnel everything into the boss almost. I think it's a better damage profile.
Yeah, and our clear did 4.55 mil to Elegon himself in that time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not too bad.
Pretty solid. Definitely gonna be a really fun tank fight to min-max all that. You guys got anything else you want to go over on this fight? I think that's kind of the main little, tips and tricks kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth to go over some of the stuff that's not just for the top end as well. Like, for example, if you just do the fight normally, you're gonna be. I mean, normal is maybe relative, but the way that I think most skills will be approaching it. You're gonna have vengeance from the first phase, and then you're gonna transition into the intermission phase, and then the ads are gonna spawn, and then you're basically gonna be without vengeance forever. Don't be too quick to override your, especially if there's a bloody K, override your disease snapshot from when you actually had vengeance. We want to go in and blood boil everything right when they spawn, and if you have a disease snapshot and you override that snapshot with a blood boil, that's not great. if you are in a position where you have a good snapshot and you still want to spread your diseases, it's maybe a good idea to find that pestilence bind that you've probably forgotten about in this expansion, because then it doesn't refresh on the boss itself. Jumping, the jump tech is very important because it's been a thing since original Classic, but you have leeway when you use certain mechanics. That's what we talked about earlier with Thunderclap. Like if you jump and Thunderclap, you make it go much further than if you just use it while standing on the ground. It's the same with Blood Boil. It's the same with Keg Smash, I think, as well. And it's just a bunch of different things where if you jump as you use it, then you reach further. I think it's the same with Arcing Light as well, or your Light's Hammer. If you jump when you use it, it actually reaches further because it's the same way with Death and Decay. If you jump as you place it, it has a wider radius as well. Probably Consecration too, I would imagine. Rushing Jade works too.
Yeah, it worked that way on Mimiron. Back in Old War, that's how you hit the head with your Consecration. That was always a good interesting one.
And yeah, like I think it's maybe not super important for the average guild, but please tell your DPS to just not Bladestorm for 1 second when the ads are up. Like funneling Vengeance is going to be super important in that phase. I think it's something that we did fairly poorly in our guild personally. But not attacking the ads and actually letting them attack the tank until you have like at least 20 seconds left of the fight that you can utilize the Vengeance and just that you have left from the ads and just kill them without any cooldowns or getting hit. Especially as a warrior, it's actually a good idea to actually kill them as a warrior, because then you can just switch over to spam execute while still having the same Vengeance.
Do the ads count on Warcraft logs, like for rank, for parse? Because if they do count, then no DPS is ever gonna let you keep those alive.
I'm sure people are gonna try to get that out as soon as possible, like every phase.
Yeah. Yeah, those are insta dead if they count on Warcraft logs.
If you remember, Sinestra probably was the biggest offender, I think, of the whole expansion in Cataclysm, where all the DPS, would rush to help you and everything would die super quick. And then the first week of them removing them from Warcraft logs, you were just on your own, literally forever.
Dude,
nobody would ever touch them.
Yeah, the DPS were gaslighting so hard. I'm like, these things are living so long. Like, we just refreshed our stacks, like, coming out of phase 2. And they're like, no, everything's the same. We're all still attacking them. I'm like, you're obviously not. These are dying so much slower.
It will actually work in your favor, though, the tank, once that happens, because 0 damage to them means pretty much only you and your off tank are going to do a lot of damage to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mal said that they don't count. I didn't trust him, but then Let's said that it counted, so I trust that.
Very good.
So that's good. That's good news.
Do we think they'll ever make a change for it to like not count for tanks? Like Vengeance you get from it, like normalize it somehow? They've done things like that in the past. Okay.
No way they touch that stuff. It's too complicated. If they can't do normalization on like Sonos, they're not gonna do that. Yeah.
I agree with Riyani. I think normalizing tank vengeance is like, it is insanely complex when it comes to the fairness of things. Like, I cannot think it can be done. You either include it in all stars or you don't. Like, nothing in between. You cannot do fine tunings.
Fair enough. All right, ready to move on to Will of the Emperor. We can we can look at the trash really quick too. You can do stack up here, do your little shroud. We on our pull, our run, we pulled that mob on accident. Our plan was to go through the middle, but it looks like all you guys did was just distract, because normally that mob's facing the other way. But That looks cleaner. Just distract it toward the middle. Go around the corner there. Easy.
We did through the middle, and it was successful. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think the other one is probably cleaner.
Yeah, the issue we had was that different people went different ways, and yeah.
Oh, that's
So we pulled it, and then if that does happen though, you can just run. Everybody just runs into the room, and you just like die on the floor basically, and onk and res everybody. It's not really a big deal, but it does waste a little bit of time if you miss that shroud.
I think these trash skips are fairly irrelevant point of the discussion when it comes to like post-race scenarios.
Sure.
Like
yeah, super relevant.
like when you're trying to just kill the bosses and we're trying to help people figure out ways to kill the bosses, trash don't matter. They can pull again and again. Like here, what we do is like very niche. Like
Yeah.
just help the guys, focus on the bosses, and that's about it.
Yeah, they probably want some of the trash drops anyway, at least for now. But
I do think though that especially later on as we start, re-clearing, and I mean we're gonna be doing the skip forever even if we're not racing, right? You know, it's just a way to speed up the raid a little bit and have a shroud. And we personally use double stampede and just run as a raid all the way down. Had a little bit different approach here in the Numen run, but yeah, it's a pretty irrelevant as a here's how to make the raid more successful type of thing.
What we had is that we could just have the hunters click the things as fast as possible, and like the boss mechanic would pull us into the room anyway. So we did it for safety. Hunters go in with camouflage as fast as they can, click the things, and we with Shroud would be pulled into the boss room anyway, like how the mechanic works. So it was just a conventional, like little detail.
Yep. So the big strat everybody's kind of doing on this fight is you don't actually kill these rages. You Gorfians grasp them all together. You just mass entangle, rotate between two druids basically the entire fight, and never do them. It takes, I think for us, it took 5-6 minutes off the kill time, something like that. So that was pretty significant. Definitely a much longer, harder fight if you aren't doing this strat.
Yeah, like I think that our forefathers 13 years ago who did this, shouting out to envy. Mike Gilly from Fresh Mafro Profato, who did this like very first time CCing the mobs. It's like, nowadays it's a given. You do it. And who was the conductor for us was Iguria. Like he was only in for Will of the Emperor. He was like a vocal point during our fight. He was like saying, DK script now, DK script now. Like they weren't gripping. Like he was absolutely nailing it. Like I have so much respect for this guy. Like he came in for one boss, was so impactful. Like nailed it. I'm so happy for it. And yeah, like we had a Boomkin as the other druid. Yeah, that's another topic of discussion. Boomkin is the worst DPS of this tier. Like, I can't I can't really defend Boomkin. It's there for a mass route, and that's it.
Even after the buffs, not enough.
Well, it got buffed, and just before MoP got launched, and it got nerfed, and we were like, what? It got nerfed
Apparently
by
Shadow
5%.
Priests were crying too much that the Boomkins were simming well, and
Blizzard doesn't understand that sims don't reflect the reality, just as Prot Warrior does. Like, Prot Warrior doesn't sim well, but Prot Warrior in reality is the king. Like, just as Boomkin is just so garbage.
We actually ran a Boomkin the entire time. I'm not sure. I don't know how he did. I know he was #1 All-Stars, but nobody was playing Boomkin, I guess. So It's kind of a
Yeah.
Our raid leader ran Boomkin, but he's a raid leader, so he can decide whatever to run whatever the heck he wants.
That's true. That's why you raid lead, so you can play Boomkin.
Exactly, it's the only way.
I'm very sure that Boomkin is the going with pre-raid gear. I'm not saying about raid gear after you have released and put on gear. Like going with pre-raid gear, Boomkin is the worst DPS out of any spec. Like you could fucking play Fire Mage and do better than a Boomkin. Like if you talk about raw numbers, we run a Boomkin for the mass route and that's it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Seox and Aeneas, who came in as a backup because Shape DC'd on Spirit Kings. Like we ran Spirit Kings 24-man. Like these guys are so important for racing. These type of players that are not a part of the top 25 men. Like you need to have players like this. Aeneas comes in, plays Elegon. It's so amazing. Seox comes in just for Will of the Emperor. Like, I have so much fucking respect for these guys. Like, from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, definitely some fights where individual players can make a huge impact. I wanted to ask you too on this one. So what we did was we were dragging the bosses together for every tank phase for more cleave, and it also allowed things like power barrier to affect both tanks. Was there a reason you guys chose not to do that? Just felt it was simpler this way?
Well, okay, yeah. So first of all, we did not, like I said at the very start of this discussion, I did not plan for the spark to hit me. So when it hit me, it was like, okay, we had it happen on PTR and I dealt with it. Now when it happened, I was like, give the Avengers to me. But cooldown wise, it wasn't planned. We had no plan for it. Main thing was that we had our courages cleaved. So when you have the boss at the courage, when you, for example, me as a Prot warrior, when I use Thunderclap, even though the boss has the courage has a shield towards me, when I use Thunderclap with Vengeance, it fucking claps the Vengeance. The courage. Like you can even use sweeping strikes on the armed warrior, and it sweeping strikes towards the courage with the shield towards the warrior. So it's a very effective way and a safe way to deal with the mechanic. And when these courages travel past towards the boss, just as they travel towards the boss, they die, and then the spark, spawns, and then it can be soaked. So it's a very safe and effective way to deal with the boss positioning, and also way we tanked it was close towards the range, so the range could cleave effectively as possible. We tried this stacking the bosses in between the combos, and it didn't it looked cool. Yeah, looks cool in the video, but in the end it didn't really prove the results that we hoped for. So stacking them on the courage position was way more effective for us than actually stacking the bosses. So
Okay.
that was the reason.
I think as well that I think any private server Andy is probably fuming or seeing that the boss is not being stacked. But on the the version of the game that we got right now, the dance sequence is very desynced.
Yeah.
They don't happen at the same time. And so even if you do have the opportunity to stack them up, it's honestly only opportunity enough to stack up, cleave for a little bit, maybe spread diseases, and then you have to spread them again. So it is really not that big value. So I actually kind of do like the way that Numen was approaching this. We did see the stacking strats of the beef bar guys. Can't remember the name.
Dyson Rune, no matter if they were World Rank 2, massive respect to Dyson Rune. They are phenomenal players. Because I play with them on Fresh, these are players that I look up to. Their mentality, their way of playing the game. impacts me. These players, now that I'm competing versus in MoP, like nothing but respect towards them. 13 seconds that we won towards them is nothing but our badness. Like they were putting up a good performance. We played like shit. Dice and Rune, nothing but love. Like I don't know what else to say.
They performed extremely well. I'm not sure if people were expecting them to compete with Numen. Yeah, I think a lot of people saw them as a really, really strong contender to be in the top 3, and maybe rival one of the guilds if something went wrong. But I think it's fair to say that there's a new kid on the block, and there's actually a 3-way race going forward, which I think is really exciting.
I can say maybe within like the Twitch sphere of things, yeah, what you said is real. But from coming from a person that lives with these people, raised with these people, raised with not that bad players on Fresh. I play with Numen people on MoP. These people are very formidable. Like they are not a fucking joke. They are, I think, not that bad. Like they have the best raw roster power when it comes to not that bad Numen or Progress. Like their roster is the best, like the absolute player by player performance, like how you will get damage numbers from. Like they have the best performance, no questions asked. And I think this is a very relevant topic of discussion in Mist of Pandaria, because a lot of these bosses are like, okay, pull all the trash and then the boss will spawn. This leads into this topic that, okay, you're going to be looking at damage numbers. So leads into not that bad having like an absolute advantage when it comes to this. They have very solid damage number providers. Like before the race happened, no one knew about them, but I knew, and I give them all the credit. They have absolute fucking beasts of players, and they will, I think they will be first, second, or third when it comes to these, future races. I would not be surprised if they're just first. Absolute beasts of gamers.
Yeah,
Yeah, wonderful.
we should mention, I think they were only 13 seconds behind, right? Like it was very, very close.
I think the very topic of discussion is that they 4 healed and 5 healed Will of the Emperor. So this led to them like being very close. We made a lot of mistakes, but we had 3 heals and 4 heals. But they had like solid, performance. And also saying that it was first race for like, okay, they're B4 players, but their leadership is like, and a lot of players are doing this for the first time. So like it's a learning experience for them as well. So I think going forward, they're going to do a lot better. They're going to learn, and because of their roster potentiality, they're going to do a lot better. They're going to fucking crack. Like that's just my prediction of things. Like 13 seconds for them right now might mean 1 minute ahead of just purely performance in next race, even with the same amount of healers. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be exciting having next race with them, Numen in Progress. Is there anything you want to go over in particular on this fight that we haven't already talked about? I guess we could talk about like the dance, some ways you can make that easier. Things like enrage speed for warrior, momentum talent for brewmaster, just basically anything that makes you move faster makes the dance significantly easier if you're having any issues.
I have one really, really good tip.
Sure.
Is that when the boss starts to dance, it starts looking towards the tank, and it keeps facing towards where the tank was. So every time it does the front like thrust, it does in front of the tank where it was. So as a tank, and as a melee DPS, if you just dance on the ass side of the boss, okay, I linked the VOD to you guys, and you might have heard when I said like multiple times on the VOD, like dance on the ass side, dance on the asshole, dance on the asshole. That's where you go. You either go a bit back when it does the like circle around the boss, or you go left or right. That's it. It's left, right, or backwards. That's it. Very easy to, complete that whole sequence. And this is something contrary to private servers. Private servers, the boss would like always reshift its position towards where the aggro tank was. But on classic, it will always stick to where the tank was when the dance happens, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. I did do it a little bit on private server too. I definitely found the private server one to be easier, like more scripted, but this one's not bad also once you get experience.
Something I noticed on the private servers was that the dance was slower. So
yes,
I think
yeah.
they have figured out that okay, because on live the dance is fixed, it is faster. But on the private servers, when the boss, okay, like let's say the tank is like, you're dodging, and all of a sudden it turns towards you, you're just gonna be fucked. You need to heroic leap or rocket boats, but you can't have it every time it happens. They slowed it down. I think this is like the mentality of the whole process, why they thought of this. But on classic, they have it fixed. It's towards one direction. Not a band, not a boy band from UK. But just look at where the dance happens when it starts. Follow it, left, right, back. That's it. You never have to move like back towards front if you just dance on the ass. It's so back and forth, easy. That's like my easiest tip for that whole fight.
Yeah, looking at the sequence right now, I'm definitely like, all right, well, seeing it happen now, I just not seeing the boss reposition. I'm like, wait, that makes so much sense to just be in the ass, at the ass. And making that movement is really not that difficult, and yeah, that's something I'm gonna take forward as well. Not that I have that much of an issue with the dance as it is, but it does make things very, very easy.
Yeah.
One thing to notice as well, I think you probably noticed this as well, Credi, is that the boss aggro at the start when it comes down, scripting is kind of iffy right there.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah. So we had an issue on PTR many times where DPS would over aggro the very pool, and I was like a part of blame. I would not taunt, and we would get aggro. In the race, I taunted exactly when my raid leader said, "Okay, let's taunt now." I taunted. Taunt was up maybe 1 second after the boss was actually aggro initiated, but our Desher Warlock had like Shadowburned and like really cranked. I had put 2 globals into the boss even after the taunt was in. Still over aggroed, and that guy ended up being dead for 2 minutes. So it was a massive like damage loss. So I could have used my taunt 2 seconds later. Mistake on my side. I followed my raid leader's call. Our preparation from the tank side was maybe faulty, but yeah, like the taunt aggro is weird. Like you use 2 triple globals on the boss, and all of a sudden you reset. Like you need to use your taunt at
Yeah.
it's a really great to put, like really think
Do you remember
great.
the Shambling Horror, Credi, from Lich King?
Uh,
The big mobs to shockwave everybody to death that you have to tank them away and kill
I
them
did
disease?
I did tank them on the world first, but I don't know.
Okay.
Like
Basically, any mob that is birthed into the encounter has a birthing time, which means that they'll have about 2.5, sometimes 3 seconds. You're right, it's bad scripting, but that's just a mechanic, and you have to wait it out. So the tip would be you kind of have to know how long they're up there. You can't taunt instantly because it's like you said, threat, you can damage them, but threat won't matter at all. It won't be registered. They have to be birthed, and then only then they start accruing threat towards them.
I think the big difference is that when you like your science is point on, like absolutely point on. I think the big difference is in practice is that when you were doing that fight on Lich King is that no one did damage to those mobs. Like you dealt with them with necrotic plates and that shit. Like right.
Yeah, I was just
Like
saying that's the same mechanic, the
yeah,
birthing thing.
exactly. So you wouldn't get it in your face when it comes to like the reality of the okay, now Cosane died and I'm like ashamed of this. But in Lich King when we fought that fight, no one would be punished. I would not be punished for this. I think it's a
Yeah.
great point to bring. Like it's an awesome topic that you brought in, Cal.
So the way I've been dealing with this, they do an animation that basically just tells you like when you need to taunt. So they hop out and then they do this bow, and when they stand back up, that's when you taunt, because they're gonna activate like 1 second after that. So once they finish their like bowing animation and they're upright again, just throw the taunt there, throw your globals, and you should be good. That's
Look,
what
if
I've been
the-
going
the
off
regulars
of. That's
just
what I've been
taunt,
going
you
off of.
taunt.
I haven't had any issues with it.
I just taunted when my raid dealer said
Yeah.
taunt. And
I mean, so you also have that like countdown boss active, and it's counting down, which might have been what he was like telling you to taunt on or something.
I think
But,
it's more of field crafting rather than
Yeah.
science thing.
Yeah, for sure. But the reliable way to do this is literally when they finish their bow and they're upright again, you can just throw the taunt there.
And then, of course, if you're a warrior, you can just throw vigilance on whoever and just spam taunt it.
That's true too. Anything else you guys want to go over for this one?
I mean, just the boss kind of hurts, right? Now he's tanking like it's nothing, despite the boss being enraged, and we can kind of talk about why it's enraged as well. But right when you pull it back as well, when you start the encounter and then come down, it's kind of the longest phase where you're gonna have to deal with the boss's damage between the dances. So having externals and communicating well, using like a tool like MRT or WeakAuras to be able to call for externals for when you need it, will be very, very important. And don't be afraid to call for that cooldown, like a little bit before the dance ends, because he's gonna turn around, he's gonna give you a big slap, and then he has a really quick attack speed, and you can't just get globaled, basically 2 autos. We didn't mention that the boss got enraged. This was unintentional, but I was 100% sure that it was intentional. The way that you can make the bosses do more damage and quicker attacks is by these little spirits or sparks that spawn after you kill an ad. If those touches the boss for whatever reason, they get a 100% attack speed buff, and this does stack as well. So if you want to go for some ultimate parsing type of shenanigans in the later phases, or when you have more gear or whatever, you want to pump some numbers, you can just keep stacking that buff on the boss and just take more and more damage and use externals for that, but not to be
Yeah.
advised during progress.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't use it if you're just trying to kill the boss first time. It happened to us for a few times during PTR, and okay, we dealt with it. Like, okay, and I was like, our tank dynamic during the boss was our DK tank was taking all the externals, and I was like, playing with shield block because Prot Warrior XD. Now that it happened in the race, like very first spark, boys say, "Oh my god, it's gonna hit the boss." I'm saying like, "It's fine,
I
boys."
say, hell yeah. Yeah, more damage.
I was
Bring it
so
down.
fucking happy. Like, especially because I had played so bad in the first half. I'm like, it's my time to redeem this shit. And I topped that shit. I fucked that shit. I did so much damage. And it was so much crank. Like, I love that shit. And, okay, after it's all been done and said, I messaged my co-tank. I'm like, you took the damage, same damage as I did. Like, did your boss get the charge as well? Because he was spelling the blood decay. I'm like,
It's just
you
a
were
bloody
taking.
K, man.
Yeah, I asked him like, did you get the spark as well? Because I was very focused on my own gameplay. He was like, no, what the fuck are you saying? And I'm like, Prot Warrior, Blizzard is smoking crack cocaine. Like I said before with the shield barrier nerf, they are smoking crack cocaine. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They cannot buff Prot Warrior more. It is such a good tank, especially in 25 man, especially when good guilds are playing. They cannot do it. It's just not plausible.
Credi, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to cut you off there so they don't nerf my Prot Warrior for Heart of Fear. I want that shield barrier buff to still be there in Heart of Fear. Please stop talking about it.
You've already taken away the ad revenue. Now you're taking away the Prot Warrior.
3.5 million Empress. 3.5 million Empress. Shield barrier will. The buffer will run out. The 6-second duration will run out. It will not deplete, it will run out.
It will. You're right. But yeah, we're gonna hide this podcast. I hope Zyrian doesn't see this. R.I.P. Shield Bearer. We're gonna see that patch note in the coming days, I'm sure. All right. That was pretty good. You guys got anything else, or you want to wrap this thing up?
On this boss specifically, I don't really think so. I think there's a very, it's a very scripted fight, and you kind of just have to keep doing it over and over. It's mostly down to your ranges being able to manage the ads, and as long as they do their thing, it's just about dancing and killing and dancing and killing and dancing and killing. I will say that a lot of people might have gotten a little bit of false sense of security of like, oh shit, is the raid really this easy? Is the Mists of Pandaria really this easy? Because Mists of Pandaria or Mogu'shan Vault is definitely a intro raid. It's supposed to be released as a tier, and these as a whole full tier, and this is the first 6 bosses. This is definitely easier than the rest of the tier is. So don't go into the next few raids with a false sense of security of thinking that you're going to be able to kill things as easily as you did in Mogu'shan Vault.
I think generally that statement is absolutely correct, but only the difference is Empress. Like, that is the only fight that is harder than MSV. MSV as a raid is, I think, harder than HOF. And MSV ads are harder than everything in HOF, and that's it. I think MSV as a raid is fantastic for a tank. But Empress ads take it to a whole different level. Like, you're gonna be looking at who is the fucking man, who is the not, and that's it.
I think for a lot of guilds, the things they're gonna have trouble with though, in Heart of Fear, it's like Amber Shaper, the people controlling the A-bomb, and then even on the first boss, like people who can't get down the was it attenuation? I'm blanking on the name of the mechanic, the balls that shoot out.
Attenuation.
People that can't get that down, they just die every single time. Like, and I mean, there's a lot of guilds out there where that's just gonna be a thing. I think that's where a lot of the difficulty is going to come in for a lot of guilds, is just some of these mechanics that people are going to have a little bit more trouble with. But I mean, you do have the Spirit King's Shadow Shield mechanic in MSV2 that is the cause of many wipes.
It's a raid killer.
I think a bit of an individual responsibility, which is usually the bane of non, racing type of guilds.
Yep. All right, guys. Man, I love the shades, Credi. So good. Every time I look at that, it just makes me happy, dude. All right. You guys good to wrap it up there then?
Think so.
I think we're good. It's
All
midnight
right.
over here.
Yeah.
We're feeling good.
I would
Awesome.
love to give a shout out to Shoop, the Arms Warrior from Numen. The blickies he gave me during the race was like exceptional. Like no other warriors give so much good blicky, and that's it.
All right, you heard it here first. Anybody else who want to shout out while you're doing it?
Moist is World Rank 1 Resto Druid, World Rank 1 Resto Shaman, and World Rank 1 Enchanter. Like, exceptional work.
All right. Riyani, you want to do your plugs? Let the people know what you got going on.
I mean, if I follow this up with like not saying that my raid leader and arms warrior Ian wasn't giving exceptional vigilances throughout the entire process of the raid and the progress, that does not work. So obviously, shout out to Ian, of course. No, but what do I have going on? Honestly, I've just been so in the thick of it over these last few months that it's kind of just gonna be nice to play the game a little bit and just relax a little bit. And sure, we have a few raids coming up, and that'll be exciting. But yeah, we'll keep on cooking on the Discord. I think the Discord is honestly one of the things I'm the most proud of right now, because we have so many resources happening there all the time, and we have biz lists for all of the different phases on pretty much all the tanks that I care about. So that means that no Brewmaster and no Guardian Druid, but every other tank. And then before every raid tier as well, since Firelands, we've been doing a huge wall of just tips that I've gathered from the beta, like pretty much everything you can think of as a tank that you might want to bring into progress. So, we might be exposing some tactics and whatever else, but I'm okay with that. As long as we bring some information to the people.
Like I said, Credi here. I used the Riyani pre-raid biz list for world first MSV. Riyani, right here, coached me for world first. Use his lists, own.
I mean, I think that it made those 13 seconds. So
exactly.
There you go.
Even though the other guy in the World Rank 2 used his same list as well. Like,
shit.
number 1 and 2 used Riyani list both,
It's true. You gotta clip that and
as well then now, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta clip that and like play that as a little ad before your video.
Exactly. I think my bosses at Wowhead is already on it. It's probably on the front page as we speak. I just Twitch, we are live way more right now than we were before the expansion came out. we're live right now. So if you're on any of the other streams, you know, just click the little names down there in the shared chat and go on and follow. And that goes for everyone that's in my chat as well. You know, go over to the other guys and give them a little bit of a follow. They're all great guys and stream a lot and are entertaining and gives out good resources. So my plug is to go ahead and follow the other guys. They're great.
Yeah, I mean, I think between Mikau and Riyani, we have pretty close to 100% 24/7 tank stream coverage. So
Got good coverage with NAEU schedules.
yes.
True.
So if you follow all of us, you can always watch some tank gameplay.
Is there some good Aussie tank that we need to bring in?
Yeah, we gotta who tanks down there?
Malvan is Prot Paladin.
He's French. Doesn't work.
No,
Doesn't count.
I uncovered his name is Pierre, which in Finland means farting, but he is Aussie at the end of the day. Like, even though he's a fart, he's, Malvanis.
Wise words, yes. I'm still recovering from that. Sorry. Cal, what do you got going on? You wanna plug your stuff?
Same old stuff. I'll be streaming on Twitch. Discord is obviously not as active as Riyani's hub because that's a huge hub and that's great. That's a really good job on that, Riyani and his community. But yeah, I'll have the YouTube VODs. They're up for Heart of Fear and Toes as well. And I actually appreciate you guys coming up on here and doing this tank talk because it's always nice to get, up to speed, up to date with everybody, their perspectives and what they brought to the race and beyond. And hopefully we can do this again for the upcoming one.
Yeah.
Can we give a shout out to the cow cam? This is fantastic. I've missed that beard since the early Cataclysm days.
It might be coming back, yeah.
Last time I saw it, I think it was in Wrath, ICC. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
I might have to grow mine out a little
bit. Gotta get hyped up about the cam. Full hype, everybody grow beards.
Mm-hmm.
Riyani, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, when's the Riyani beard coming?
I used to have a beard, but that was pre-camera days. Now we got
only one
look fresh.
You're the only one without the beard click.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to my wife first. That's the most important variable here.
Well, the most important thing I've learned is that the only thing that matters is the wife, and the wife likes this.
Exactly.
There you go. So for me, I'm streaming most days right now, rating 5 times a week at the moment. 2 Brewmasters, 1 Prot Value, 1 BDK, 1 Brawler. And can check out YouTube too, posting some stuff there as well. Subtle FW on both of those, both Twitch and YouTube. Got Discord as well. Always happy to answer questions and on Discord or stop by stream, whichever. And yeah, we'll be back for Heart of Fear for sure. We'll rally the troops and we'll be back. But thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time for Heart of Fear. Peace.